we know that the appointment of the charge d'affaires has come after a very long period of time. What exactly has been India's priorities in the meantime dealing with Afghanistan?
Well, absolutely. India has time and again addressed, definitely concerns, regarding the terrorism that is that has been emanating out from Afghanistan, and definitely, trade as one of the major aspects. Considering, the Iran, Afghanistan, and India collaboration, there have been several attempts by the Indian side, as to how this partnership. Can be, taken forward. Afghanistan has been a time-tested partner of India, and India has also, on several occasions, provided the financial and military, financial assistance to Afghanistan whenever needed. So, indeed, it is a win-win situation for both the countries, and definitely, it's to, from here on, there will be a significant development, a positive development as far as the Indo-Afghan relations are concerned.
Aditya, thank you so much for sharing all those details with us. I'm also being joined by Ambassador KP Fabin, who's a former diplomat. Welcome to the broadcast, sir. Now the Afghanistan charge d'affaires has met with an Indian official from the Ministry of External Affairs, and we know that Afghanistan is a time-tested partner for India. What exactly do you make of this meeting, and where are ties between India and Afghanistan headed next, in your opinion?
Well, good morning. Let's look at the big picture. When Taliban took over, most of the international community sort of walked out, but China and Russia, and to an extent Iran, brought back to relations with the new government in Kabul. India took a while, but later, when India's relations with Pakistan got deteriorating more and more, Pahalgam and all that, well, India decided that it was necessary to reconnect with Afghanistan, which, incidentally, for years, Pakistan has considered as part of its strategic depth. So India has done the right thing in geopolitical terms, and this is going to develop further. India will give more assistance to Afghanistan, and the trade between the two also will develop. But at the same time, we have to watch carefully what is happening between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And you might have seen recently that Turkey has walked out of doing any mediation. But I personally do not expect a big war between Afghanistan and Pakistan for the reason that Pakistan has got a mutual defense treaty with Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is not going to permit Pakistan to start a big war.
Additionally, sir, we know that India and Afghanistan ties are, it seems like they are deepening, and we also know that when Taliban came into power, Pakistan thought this was their strategic backyard now, that since it had cultivated Taliban over all those years. But now with this deepening of ties, it feels like Pakistan is certainly getting worried, considering the fact that they have, questioned this deepening of ties between India as well as Afghanistan. And I think this move certainly will worry them even more, considering the fact that, engagements between Afghanistan and India are also, deepening.
I couldn't agree with you more, but once again, let us recall, the ISI was behaving like the mentor of Taliban when Taliban took over. And for a while, that mentorship continued. But then ISI became very overbearing, and the self-respecting Afghans told them, listen, enough is enough. So ISI has messed up, and we should thank ISI because it is to our benefit.
Ambassador Fabin, I would please request you to stay on with me. India is set to unveil the official logo for its 2026 BRICS presidency today. The country formally took over the rotating chairmanship of the grouping just a few days ago on January 1st from Brazil. The launch comes as India aims to project a strong, inclusive image during its tenure, building on its successful G20 presidency model with plans for nationwide branding, cultural integration, and a focus on priorities like resilience, innovation, cooperation, and sustainability under the theme Humanity First. The logo unveiling is expected to kick off extensive outreach efforts, including projections on public transport, digital campaigns, and events across the country. Ambassador Fabian, let me please come back to you on this. What does this BRICS presidency mean for India and as well as for Global South as a whole?
Well, India's BRICS presidency will be very, what shall I say, will contribute in a big way to BRICS strengthening and also for the benefit of the Global South in general. At the same time, we should keep in mind that somebody from Washington is closely watching, and the person who is watching BRICS is very allergic about BRICS. And the reason given is that BRICS has a de-dollarization project. Now, the fact is that BRICS does not, at least India does not, want a de-dollarization project, and that has been made very clear. At the same time, India wants greater use of the national currencies, about which India will go ahead. So let us take into account the big picture, where there is a certain animosity towards BRICS somewhat in Washington.
Additionally, sir, in your opinion, what agenda will the government of India perhaps put forth during its presidency of BRICS this year?
Well, what I would suggest is that keeping in mind what is happening, what the United States is doing, what the European Union, rather intimidated by President Trump, is doing or not doing, we have to strengthen the economic relations among the BRICS countries. And that would also include technological cooperation also. For example, the AI summit, which we are going to have soon, all that means India is able and willing to take the leadership in matters that matter to the Global South.
All right, Ambassador Fabian, I would please request you to stay on with me. China has yet again claimed the Shaksgam Valley area of Jammu and Kashmir as its own. It is building a road to Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which passes through this area. India has raised strong objections to this and has consistently opposed any illegal foreign construction in this area. India also termed China's control over this area as illegal occupation. According to the Global Times, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said that the area in question is part of China. Building infrastructure in its own territory is China's right and cannot be questioned. Pakistan illegally occupied the Shaksgam Valley in 1948 and ceded the area to China in 1963. Ambassador Fabian, obviously Pakistan gave this territory to China back in 1963. How should we perhaps read the statement that is coming in from China, reiterating its claims over Shaksgam Valley, which it has illegally occupied?
Well, there are two parts to my answer. One is that India was right in making a formal protest, but at the same time, we should be realistic. Our protest is not going to make any difference to China's intentions and actions. Second part is that while we should, and we have correctly decided to, improve our trade and economic relations with China, we should recognize there are limits to India-China bilateral relations, and that the border problem will remain with us for a while, because it is not in China's interest to settle the matter, because it wants to keep it as something which they can bring up from time to time. So that is the rather tricky geopolitical waters we have to navigate, but I have no doubt that Indian diplomacy will be able to navigate it successfully.
All right, Ambassador Fabian, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us here at Newsx. Shifting focus now, a Hindu auto driver, Sameer Das, was beaten to death in Bangladesh, the latest in the series of attacks on Hindu minorities in the country. He was 28. The brutal attack on the auto driver took place in Daganbhuya in Chittagong. The attackers thrashed and stabbed the auto rickshaw driver to death. After the murder, the criminals stole the man's battery-operated auto rickshaw and fled the scene. A police officer has said, and I quote, "Sameer was murdered with country-made weapons and beaten to death. Prima facie, it appears to be a pre-planned murder. The perpetrator also looted an auto rickshaw after the killing. The victim's family will file a first information report. The police have launched an operation to identify and arrest the culprits." Alright, so this is the latest in the series of killings against minorities that has continued in Bangladesh ever since the ouster of the Sheikh Hasina government, and also after the killing of Bangladeshi political leader Osman Hadi in Dhaka. Now, we know that according to reports by think tanks, over 2,400 attacks have taken place on minority in Bangladesh since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. My colleague Yash Ahuja joins us for more on this. Yash, the attack on minorities in Bangladesh continues. This is perhaps another Hindu that has been killed in Bangladesh in over 2 weeks.
Yes, Medha very rightly pointed out. It looks like the attack on Hindus especially and minorities in Bangladesh doesn't seem to be down. Let's talk about Sameer Das. He was a Hindu auto driver. He was beaten to death in Bangladesh in the latest series of attacks on Hindu minorities in the country. He was just 28 years of age. The brutal attack on the driver took place in the Daganbhuyan area of Chittagong on Sunday night. The attackers thrashed and stabbed the auto rickshaw driver to death. According to prima facie, it appears to be a pre-planned murder, as you've already mentioned. He was murdered with country-made weapons. He was beaten to death. He was looted. The auto rickshaw was looted, and the victim's family has now filed an FIR. Police have launched operations to identify and arrest the culprits, but we know what happens in Bangladesh. Hindus get murdered, Hindus get killed, but the probe never seems to be complete. The investigation never seems to be complete. The majority Muslim nation of 170 million, Bangladesh has been in turmoil since the 2024 uprising. The Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council, a human rights organization against religious discrimination, have expressed grave concerns over the escalating attacks on minority communities across the country. This Sameer Das, this is the 8th Bangladeshi Hindu that has been killed in the past month alone. Back to you.
Thank you so much for sharing all those details with us, Yash. I'm also being joined by Renik Datta. Renik, this is the 8th attack in over 2 weeks that has taken place in Bangladesh, and the government somewhat remains to not act over all these attacks on minorities, and it has gone so far as to downplay these attacks as well.
हाँ एकदम। देखिए बांग्लादेश का अगर बात किया जाए तो पिछले 26 दिन के अंदर 8 हिंदुओं का मौत का घटना सामने आया है बांग्लादेश में, जिसमें समीर दास जो है वो 8वां नंबर में आता है। समीर दास एक 28 साल का लड़का है जो फनी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, बांग्लादेश का जो फनी डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उस डिस्ट्रिक्ट का एक रिक्शा चालक है। वो कल रिक्शा लेकर घर से निकले थे काम के लिए, मगर काम के दौरान ही उनके रिक्शा को लूट करने के लिए उनके ऊपर हमला किया गया और हमले के दौरान उनको इस तरीके से पीटा गया रास्ते बीच सड़क पर, जिसमें उनका मौत हो गया है, ऐसा उनका परिवार की तरफ से दावा किया जा रहा है। ये घटना पहला घटना नहीं है। अगर देखा जाए तो दीपू चंद्र दास को जिस तरीके से बांग्लादेश में एकदम बीच सड़क पर मॉब लिंच किया गया था, जिस तरीके से पेड़ से लटक कर उनको जिंदा जला दिया गया था, उसके बाद से बांग्लादेश में ये जो हिंदुओं के ऊपर अत्याचार का घटना ये बढ़ता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। और पिछले दो दिन का अगर बात किया जाए तो पिछले 2 दिन में 3 हिंदू का मौत का घटना जो है वो बांग्लादेश से सामने आया है। कभी सिंगर को बिना ट्रीटमेंट में मौत का घाट उतारा जाता है क्योंकि उनका जो धर्म पूछा गया था अस्पताल में, ऐसा उनका परिवार की तरफ से दावा किया जा रहा है। और उसके साथ साथ ही वो आवामी लीग के सपोर्टर था, ऐसा भी उनके ऊपर आरोप है। और उसके साथ साथ ही अगर देखा जाए तो 2 हिंदुओं को पीट कर हत्या करने का घटना भी बांग्लादेश से सामने आया है, जिसमें ये शमीर दास का नाम सामने आ रहा है और एक हिंदू युवक का नाम भी सामने आ रहा है। ये यानी बांग्लादेश में लगातार अगर देखा जाए तो हिंदुओं के ऊपर अत्याचार का घटना जितना दिन जा रहा है उतना ही बढ़ता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। मगर अभी तक इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ये पूरा मामले पर कोई एक्शन नहीं देखने को मिल रहा है। दीपू चंद्र दास का मामले पर भी अभी भी सिर्फ 11 लोगों का गिरफ्तारी हुआ है, उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई चल रहा है। मगर उसके बाद से जितना भी हिंदुओं के ऊपर अत्याचार का घटना, जितना हिंदुओं को मौत का घटना सामने आया है, उस पर कोई पॉजिटिव एक्शन जो है वो इंडियन गवर्नमेंट नहीं लिया है।
ऑलराइट रैनिक, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमें ये सारी जानकारी देने के लिए। विद दैट आई स्लिप इनटू अ शॉर्ट ब्रेक। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग।
सारे मोहल्ले हाजी, खुशियों दी तुम भी बाजी, हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी। लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे,
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां।
हो असली मसाले सच MDH।
शिव प्रकाश जी सिर्फ 35 साल की उम्र में हार्ट अटैक से अचानक चले गए। टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस के पैसों से उनके माँ बाप को सहारा मिलेगा। पॉलिसी बाजार ने क्लेम के वक्त फैमिली का पूरा साथ दिया। पॉलिसी बाजार पे 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 400 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
MDH कसूरी मेथी लाजवाब है, लाजवाब है।
स्वाद और सुगंध इसकी
लाजवाब है, लाजवाब है।
अगर MDH कसूरी मेथी नहीं डाला
तो खाली हाथ मलते रह जाओगे।
एक एक पत्ता हाथ से चुना, स्वाद और सुगंध जगाए कई गुना।
MDH।
टेक्नोलॉजी की नई उड़ान, नए उत्तर प्रदेश की पहचान। यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के मार्गदर्शन एवं माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के दृढ़ संकल्प से विकास का स्वर्णिम अध्याय लिख रहा है उत्तर प्रदेश। आज प्रदेश टेक्नोलॉजी, AI एवं डेटा में अपनी निर्णायक उपस्थिति दर्ज कर रहा है। लखनऊ और नोएडा में AI सिटी की स्थापना सुनिश्चित हो रही है। जेवर में 3,700 करोड़ रुपए की सेमीकंडक्टर यूनिट निर्माणाधीन है। डेटा सेंटर पार्क एवं सॉफ्टवेयर टेक्नोलॉजी पार्क की स्थापना से उत्तर प्रदेश डिजिटल पावर हाउस बनने की दिशा में अग्रसर है। AI प्रज्ञा के माध्यम से युवाओं को AI प्रशिक्षण मिल रहा है। रोबोट उत्पादन में भी अग्रणी भूमिका निभा रहा है उत्तर प्रदेश। तकनीक है, समृद्धि है, संस्कार है, ये डबल इंजन सरकार है।
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ेब्रा नहीं हो सकता। कार नई हो या पुरानी,
पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ेब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा काइंड ऑफ।
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम भी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी। अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
स्वाद।
अब आया स्वाद।
जब स्वाद के पड़े हो लाले तो MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला डालें। MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला।
MDH।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया।
Welcome back. You're watching Newsx and I'm Medha Sharan. An Aam Aadmi Party leader and RWA member was shot dead in northwest Delhi's Shalimar Bagh on 10 January 2026, with police suspecting the killing to be linked to the long pending murder case of her husband, in which some of the accused are still absconding. The incident took place around 11 a.m. under the jurisdiction of the Shalimar Bagh police station. Police said Rachna Yadav's husband was shot dead by criminals nearly 3 years ago in 2023. Since then, she has been actively pursuing the case and had even approached the Supreme Court seeking justice. Some of the accused in her husband's murder are still absconding. Preliminary suspicion points towards the same criminals being involved in her killing as well. Now, investigations into the murder of 44-year-old Rachna Yadav, an Aam Aadmi Party worker and Residents Welfare Association member in Shalimar Bagh, have revealed that the two assailants used two motorcycles to execute and flee after the crime. According to the police, the attackers arrived in Shalimar Bagh on separate motorcycles on Saturday morning. While one motorcycle on which the shooter arrived remains untraced, the second was used for escape and later found abandoned on Helipad Road in Rohini near Urban Extension Road 2, which connects Delhi to Haryana. Javed Hussain, my colleague, joins us for more on this. जावेद, हमें पता चल रहा है कि शूटर का जो मोटरसाइकिल है इस केस में वो अभी भी अनट्रेसेबल है, बट उनका जो एस्केप बाइक था वो रोहिणी में अबैंडन मिला था।
जी बिल्कुल, देखिए इस रचना यादव मर्डर केस में जो दिल्ली पुलिस को जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में सामने आया कि दो बाइक जो है वो इस्तेमाल किया गया था और जो अटैकर्स थे, जो हमलावर थे, उन्होंने शालीमार बाग में जिस तरीके से शनिवार की सुबह जो मोटरसाइकिल इस्तेमाल किया था और उसमें जो एक मोटरसाइकिल है वो आपको रोहिणी के अर्बन एक्सटेंशन रोड के पास जो है वो वहाँ पर जो कनेक्शन है और जिस तरीके से दिल्ली पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेशन को देखा है उस पूरे मामले में यही साफ है कि हमलावर जो थे उनका पूरा कनेक्शन है। जो दो बाइक जिस तरह से इस्तेमाल किया गया, एक हरियाणा और दूसरा दिल्ली से कहीं न कहीं कनेक्टिविटी है और दिल्ली पुलिस का कहना है कि पूरी तरीके से जो एग्जीक्यूशन किया गया था इस हमला में, इस अटैक में, जो जिस तरीके से सीसीटीवी भी साफ दिख रहा है कि किस तरीके से जो अटैकर्स है वो दो बाइक का इस्तेमाल करते हैं और वहां से भागते हुए भी साफ दिख रहे हैं। फिलहाल पुलिस इस पूरे मामले की जांच में जुटी हुई है और पुलिस का कहना है कि तमाम हर एक एंगल्स को लेकर जो है इस पूरे मामले की जांच की जा रही है।
जावेद, इनके जो हस्बैंड का मर्डर केस है उसमें अभी इन्वेस्टिगेशन का स्टेटस क्या है? ये केस कोर्ट में है, क्या स्टेटस है इस केस का?
देखिए इस पूरे मामले में जो है जो साल 2023 में जिस तरीके से मर्डर हुआ था उनके पति का, उसके बाद इसमें जो रचना यादव एक कहीं न कहीं विटनेस के तौर पे थी और ये जो सबसे मुख्य गवाह थी, तो इसको लेकर जो है वो काफी अहम जो दिल्ली पुलिस की जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन थी वो लगातार जो है इन्वेस्टिगेशन में कई सस्पेक्ट भी जो है वो सामने आए हैं और कई जो इसमें सस्पेक्ट थे उनके रोल को भी दिल्ली पुलिस एग्जामिन कर रही थी। लेकिन जिस तरीके से जो इस पूरे मामले में जो आरोपी थे उनके सीसीटीवी फुटेज, उनके मूवमेंट को जो है और जिस तरीके से उसमें उस वक्त पाया गया था कि 2 से 3 जो सस्पेक्ट हैं उसमें जो इस मर्डर केस में शामिल थे और जिस तरीके से रचना यादव इसकी पूरी तरीके से उनकी गवाह थी और उसके बाद रचना यादव को जिस तरीके से गोली मारी गई वहां पर, जिस तरह से उनकी मौत हुई, उससे दिल्ली पुलिस को साफ लगता है कि इस पूरे मामले में जो हमलावर और जो अटैकर्स थे वो उसी
कनेक्शन से थे, क्योंकि रचना यादव इस पूरे अपने हस्बैंड के जो मर्डर की विटनेस थी, और विटनेस के तौर पर जो ये पूरा केस जो आगे बढ़ रहा था, और कहीं ना कहीं इसमें अहम रोल सामने आने वाला था, जिसको लेकर रचना यादव की गोली मारी गई। और उसके बाद जो हमलावर थे, शूटर थे, कहीं ना कहीं वो हायर शूटर थे, उनको हायर किया गया था और पूरी तरीके से इस प्लानिंग को एग्जीक्यूट करके तभी इस वारदात को अंजाम दिया गया।
जावेद, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ ये सारी जानकारी शेयर करने के लिए। My colleague has spoken to the relative of Rachna Yadav. According to the relative, Rachna Yadav had also been attacked previously. Let's listen to it.
रचना यादव को आज सुबह 11 बजे दिन दहाड़े दो लोग आते हैं और गोली मारकर चले जाते हैं। ऐसे में पूरे आसपास का माहौल जो है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा शॉक में है और हर कोई इसके पीछे की वजह जानने की जो कोशिश है वो कर रहे हैं। लेकिन कई सवाल जो है वो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर पर भी खड़े हो गए हैं और हमारे साथ उनके परिवार वाले जो है वो मौजूद हैं। रचना यादव के देवर जो हैं वो हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। आप किस तरीके से इस पूरी घटना को देखते हैं, क्योंकि 2023 में पहले उनके हस्बैंड को इसी तरीके से गोली मारकर उनकी हत्या की गई और आज बताया जा रहा है जब उनको कल इस मामले में गवाही देनी थी तो आज उनका भी इस तरीके से गोली मारकर हत्या कर दी गई। आपको कैसे पता चला और क्या कुछ?
मेरे को भाई की बिटिया का फ़ोन आया था कि चाचा मम्मी को गोली मार दी गई है 10:30 बजे करीब। तो जैसे ही हम आए तो वो डेड हो चुकी थी। तो उन्होंने बताया भी कि भाई तारीख भी थी, आज वो जा रहे थे गवाही के लिए। मेन गवाही यही थी उसमें, उन जो विजेंद्र यादव जी का मर्डर हुआ था उसमें मेन गवाह थी ये। तो भाई का भी सेम ऐसे ही मर्डर किया गया था, वो बेचारे अपने वहाँ पे गांव में आए हुए थे भंडारे में, और इनका भी ऐसे ही बेचारे वहाँ बता रहे थे किसी कोई डेथ हो गई थी, वहाँ से होके आई हुई थी।
तो उनके हस्बैंड की क्यों किया गया था और क्या लग रहा है?
वैसे ही उसका भी आज तक ना तो पुलिस वाले कुछ बता पाए हैं, ना हमें पता है कि भी किस वजह से उनका वो हुआ था मर्डर।
कुछ मतलब लड़ाई झगड़ा था किसी के साथ परिवार?
ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था। ऐसा कोई
प्रॉपर्टी का कोई
नहीं, अभी तक ऐसा कोई सामने नहीं आई बात। नहीं नहीं, वैसे ही वो गांव के ही थे जिनका जो अरेस्ट हुए हैं, 6 जने थे, 6 में से 4 अरेस्ट हुए हैं, 2 बताते हैं अभी पीओ हैं वो। हाँ जी, वो अभी तक अरेस्ट नहीं हुए।
अच्छा, ये बताइए कि आप जिस तरीके से बता रहे हैं RWA की प्रेसिडेंट भी थी और क्योंकि मेन जो कह सकते हैं गवाही जो है, गवाह जो है वो अपने हस्बैंड के केस में वही थी, उसके बाद क्या सिक्योरिटी नहीं थी, पुलिस नहीं थी क्या इलाके में कोई?
नहीं, कई बार इन्होंने प्रोटेक्शन मांगी थी पुलिस स्टेशन से, क्योंकि 2 बार पहले भी अटैक हो चुका था इन पे। एक बार तो इन शालीमार बाग में अटैक हुआ था, एक बार भलसवा गांव में अटैक हुआ था, और एक बार ये कोर्ट में जा रही थी डेट पे, तब वहाँ पे इनकी वॉचिंग की गई थी कि भाई कहाँ है क्या है, यानी कि अटैक करने की कोशिश की गई थी कोर्ट में भी। तो इन्होंने उनको FIR भी कटी हुई है उसकी, जो गाँव में भी गन चलाई गई थी उसकी भी FIR कटी हुई है, जो शालीमार बाग में गन चलाई थी उसकी भी FIR कटी हुई है, और जो कोर्ट में हुआ था उसकी भी इंटीमेशन भाभी ने उसमें पुलिस स्टेशन में दी थी, पर लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी कुछ ऐसा एक्शन हुआ नहीं, क्योंकि 2-2.5 साल के करीब हो गए उनको फरार हुए, वो अभी तक अरेस्ट नहीं हो।
तो आपको लग रहा है पुलिस की लापरवाही साफ तौर पर देखने को मिली?
जी मैडम, अभी तक कुछ हुआ नहीं ना मैम। अब तक वो 2.5-3 साल से कोई फरार है, वो अब तक अरेस्ट नहीं हुआ, और 3 बार इनके ऊपर अटैक हो गया, तब भी कोई एक्शन नहीं हुआ।
क्या नाम बताया आपने?
मेरा नाम रवि है।
आपका क्या नाम है?
अशोक यादव।
अशोक जी, आप कौन लगते हैं?
भाभी लगती थी हमारी, तेवर में उनका, और मेरे बड़े भाई थे।
आपको क्या लग रहा है कि मतलब पहले पति को मारना, उसके बाद उनको भी, और खुले ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी सुनसान इलाके में किया गया हो, RWA की प्रेसिडेंट उनके घर के बाहर उन्हें गोली मार दी जाती है इस तरीके से?
जी, मैं तो ये तो अंधा कानून है मैडम, क्योंकि 2023 में जब भाई साहब को गोली लगी, जब से हम इंसाफ मांग रहे हैं, भाभी हमारी बराबर आ रही है, जा रही है, अदालत में भी जा रही है, अपने हक के लिए लड़ रही है। आज जब उनको फैसले की घड़ी थी, जो गवाही होती है, क्योंकि मेन हमारी भाभी गवाह थी, तो फैसले की घड़ी थी, तो उन्होंने ये कार्यपूर्ण जो कार्य मतलब कहते हैं कि उन्होंने ये गोली मारी है, ये कायरों का काम होता है। हम अपने इंसाफ के लिए लड़ेंगे नहीं क्या? हम अपने इंसाफ के लिए लड़ते हुए आ रहे थे। तो ये काम उन्होंने इस वजह से करा क्योंकि उन्हें आज गवाह होना था और उन्हें सजा मिलनी थी।
आप लोगों को क्या लगता है कि अभी भी कोई डर है आप लोगों के मन में? बेटियों को कोई डर है? क्योंकि पहले फादर पे अटैक, फिर मम्मी पे अटैक, और उसके बाद अभी भी क्योंकि अभी भी इंसाफ जो है वो अब तो और ज़्यादा मांगना पड़ेगा, अब तो माँ के लिए भी इंसाफ मांगना पड़ेगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मैडम जी, इंसाफ के लिए तो हमारी दोनों बेटियां बहुत मजबूत हैं, ये लड़ेंगी, ऐसा नहीं है। लेकिन देखो हौसले इनके भी बुलंद है, लेकिन घबराए हुए हैं कि ये काम हमारे माता पिता के साथ हो गया तो हमारे साथ भी हो सकता है। इन बच्चों का ये सोचना है, और ये मुख्यमंत्री का एरिया है, उन्होंने इस संज्ञान पे जो है एक्शन लेना चाहिए कि उनके एरिया में एक RWA प्रधान का जो है दिन दिहाड़े गोली मार दी गई, तो ये तो बड़ी बात है ना मैडम।
आप लोग मुख्यमंत्री से भी मिलने की कोशिश करेंगे या फिर उन तक बात करने की कोशिश?
जी, मैं मुख्यमंत्री के यहाँ भी हम जाएंगे बच्चियों को लेके, दोनों को, कि भी अब जो हो गया अब इनकी प्रोटेक्शन कौन करेगा। इनके लिए तो प्रोटेक्शन बहुत ज़रूरी है ना। तब दिन दहाड़े उनके विधानसभा में ऐसा हो गया तो फिर तो आम पब्लिक ही सेफ नहीं है। तो इसलिए इनकी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए हम CM के यहाँ जाएंगे।
बिल्कुल, तो देखिए साफ तौर पर बताया जा रहा है कि रचना यादव जो कि RWA प्रेसिडेंट भी रही, जिनका आज सुबह मर्डर किया गया, उनके ऊपर कई बार पहले भी अटैक जो है वो हो चुका था। उसके बाद भी आज कहीं ना कहीं बता रहे हैं कि पुलिस की लापरवाही है, क्योंकि उसके फादर का मतलब यानी कि अगर हम रचना यादव के पति के मर्डर की बात करें तो उसमें भी बताया जा रहा है कि 6 एक्यूज जो है वो शामिल थे, जिनमें से अभी भी एक जो प्राइम एक्यूज है, जो मास्टरमाइंड है, वो एब्सकॉर्डिंग था, उसको पकड़ा नहीं गया था, और कहीं ना कहीं उसी का हाथ इस मामले में भी बताया जा रहा है। मैं आरजू सेठ, कैमरा पर्सन दीपक के साथ, इंडिया न्यूज़ X।
Shifting focus now, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has spoken on his participation in the critical minerals ministerial meeting hosted by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. In a post on X, Vaishnav stated that strengthening critical mineral supply chains is crucial for boosting the resilience of India's manufacturing ecosystem and its rapidly expanding electronics sector. Aditya Vadhavan, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Aditya, we now have the Union Minister coming out and stressing the importance of critical minerals as he attended this US hosted critical minerals meet.
Well, definitely, Megha, if you see, definitely Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has tweeted that, that he has participated in a critical minerals ministerial meeting hosted by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. So, this is definitely a need of the hour, definitely, these rare earth elements and critical minerals are very, very essential to any country's economy because it has definitely a positive impact for the country. And definitely, if you see, at this juncture, why is Trump, calling for the fact that he wants to take away Greenland, because Greenland is a country which is rich in minerals, and definitely this is a very welcome move because this is a very welcome move as far as the trade deal between India and US is concerned. Trade Secretary, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent conducted a meeting where Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav also participated. So indeed, at this juncture, it can be thought that talks between India and US are on the high trajectory as far as the trade talks are concerned, and definitely there could be a significant development regarding this.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for sharing all those details with us. Shifting focus now. In Puducherry, a private bus belonging to PKT Travels caught fire on the Mudaliarpet 100 feet road flyover late Wednesday night. All 20 passengers escaped safely after an auto driver alerted them in time. The bus was completely gutted in the blaze with passengers' belongings destroyed. Fire and rescue teams rushed to the spot and doused the fire. Police suspect an engine malfunction may have triggered the incident. Raj Kiran, my colleague, joins us for more on this. We're learning of a fire that has taken place in Puducherry. Can you share more details with us, please?
Yes, Megha, a private bus belongs to PKT Travels caught fire in Mudalarpet, where in Puducherry on Wednesday night. At the time of accident, around 20 passengers was traveling in that. So when an auto driver had noticed that some fire sparks has been noticed in the bus, and immediately he came front of the bus driver and alerted the bus. So bus driver just stopped the vehicle beside. Later, all the passengers, 20 passengers, escaped safely from the bus, and the bus was gutted. We also known that the passengers' belongings were totally gutted, and the firefighter immediately, the locals who were on the road have called the firefighters. So immediately they have reached the spot and dosed the fire. So there is nothing like life lost here. But however, the fire has destroyed the passengers' belongings who are carrying with them. This is what till now the update is.
All right, Raj, thank you for sharing all those details with us. Olympic medalist wrestler Sushil Kumar has moved a fresh bail plea in the Sagar Dhankar murder case, arguing that circumstances have materially changed now that all material prosecution witnesses have been examined by a Rohini court. Sushil Kumar, the two-time Olympic medalist, is the main accused in the 2021 murder of junior wrestler Sagar Dhankar, who died after being assaulted outside Delhi's Chhatrasal Stadium. His earlier regular bail granted by the Delhi High Court in March 2025 was cancelled by the Supreme Court in August 2025 after concerns that key witnesses had yet to be examined. My colleague Sambhav Sharma joins us for more on this. Sambhav, we're learning that Olympic medalist Sushil Kumar has moved a fresh bail plea in the Sagar Dhankar murder case.
Well, absolutely. Here, this bail application is likely to be heard tomorrow in the Rohini court, because in the Rohini court, the bail application has been moved by wrestler Sushil Kumar, who has moved this bail application for regular bail in the Sagar Dhankar murder case. Remember earlier, as you rightly pointed out, he was granted regular bail by the Delhi High Court in March 2025, but later on, Supreme Court in August 2025, on the grounds of material witness had not yet been examined, has cancelled his regular bail. Now he's moved another bail petition in the lower court. Wrestler Sushil Kumar has moved this application in the Rohini court, where the matter is going on. It's likely that the Rohini court is going to hear this matter either today or tomorrow. It is to be seen what the Rohini court says in this particular case. And also, when the Supreme Court, had granted Sushil Kumar liberty to file a fresh bail application before the concerned court, and now he's filed this fresh bail application in the Rohini court on the ground that there is a change in the circumstances, and there are fresh grounds which have arisen, and now he's requested the Rohini court to grant him bail, and the matter is in the court. It is to be seen what the court says next in this particular case.
Thank you so much, Sambhav, for sharing all those details with us. Moving our attention to Iran now, according to reports, some senior aides in President Donald Trump's administration, led by Vice President J.D. Vance, are urging President Trump to try diplomacy before any military strikes against Iran. Reportedly, the White House is weighing an offer from Tehran to hold talks on Iran's nuclear program, even as President Trump appears to be considering military action against Iran. According to reports, Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are together presenting President Trump with a range of options regarding how to deal with Iran. Aditya Vadhavan, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Aditya, we're learning these reports are coming in that people in the Trump administration, top officials rather, are urging Donald Trump to, seek diplomacy rather than striking the country.
Well, absolutely. Several of the Republicans, several key leaders in the Trump administration are out the fact that, U.S. President Donald Trump should, go ahead with a military strike on Iran and rather push through diplomacy as to how they can deal with this Iranian regime. And definitely, recently also, Iranian Foreign Minister Agrachi has said that they are ready for nuclear talks with the U.S. This had come just yesterday. So indeed, there are a lot of sections in the Trump administration which feel that it is not the right time, it is not right to strike Iran at this juncture, and definitely from here on it needs to be seen whether Trump takes the route of forced military strike or diplomacy. This will need to be seen. Medha.
Aditya, I would please request you to stay on with me. Shifting focus now to Greenland. Amid US President Donald Trump's threats of having to do something about Greenland, US Congressman Randy Fine introduced a bill seeking the annexation of the Arctic island and its eventual admission as a US state, as the push to control the strategically located island continues by Trump and his administration. Congressman Fine, who is a lawmaker in the US House of Representatives, in a post on X stated that he had introduced the Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act, legislation that would authorize the US president to pursue all necessary means to bring Greenland into the American Union. Fine framed the move as essential to counter the growing influence of Russia and China in the Arctic and to safeguard US national security, a claim also made by the US president. The lawmaker further asserted that US adversaries are attempting to establish a foothold in the Arctic and argued that acquiring Greenland would prevent rival powers from controlling the region and would help secure America's northern flank. Aditya, we're now learning that a bill has been introduced in the US Congress seeking Greenland's annexation amid Trump's threats to actually annex this autonomous island that is part of Denmark.
Well, absolutely. This is very disastrous. Such a bill has been introduced in the US Congress. And definitely now, since the European Union has given, a guarantee, that if Greenland is attacked by the US, then a charter of since Greenland is a part of the NATO, a security charter regarding the NATO countries will be invoked, and all the NATO countries will defend Greenland if necessary. If US President Donald Trump decides to give his go-ahead on the military intervention in Greenland, because it is not at all acceptable to the European allies, and definitely this will be very catastrophic for the entire region. Medha.
Aditya, I would please request you to stay on with me. Greenland's government and Prime Minister issued separate statements pushing back against US President Donald Trump's latest comments about taking over the territory, which Trump has said will happen one way or another. The Greenlandic government statement said it cannot accept the escalating US rhetoric in any way and reaffirmed its position as both a part of Denmark and the NATO military alliance. In a Facebook post, Greenland Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen acknowledged the international attention on the territory's future reflected its strategic importance for Arctic security. Yet he underscored that discussions about strengthening Greenland's defenses must be held in close cooperation with all NATO allies, including the United States, and in cooperation with Denmark. Aditya, we're now learning that amid the tensions that are rising between Greenland and the United States, both the president as well as the government, the Prime Minister rather, as well as the government have issued separate statements amid US's rhetoric to annex the island.
Well, absolutely, Medha. The two separate governments of Greenland and Denmark have, said that, this is not at all desirable. What Trump is saying that, and on several occasions in the past also, the several key leaders in the Greenland have said that Greenland is not for sale, and definitely, this is not a very, very irresponsible statement by US President Donald Trump, and he wants that, he wants to take the Greenland because considering the fact, there are possible reasons with regard to it, that if Russia is to attack America, the Arctic region is one of the most beneficial regions from where Russia can, push strikes against the United States. So clearly, at this juncture, it is a very concerning development that is undergoing, and to be seen how things unfold in the news. Medha.
Aditya, I would please request you to stay on with me. Now, according to reports, Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev said that Greenlanders could vote to join Russia if US President Donald Trump did not move quickly to secure the Arctic island. While Russia makes no claim to Greenland, it has long monitored the island's strategic role in Arctic security, given its position on North Atlantic routes and the presence there of a major US military and space surveillance facility. Trump has revived his push for the United States to take control of Greenland, which is a self-governing Danish territory, arguing that Washington needs to own it to deter Russia. Aditya, we're now also seeing that Russia has come forward and said that Greenlanders could vote to join Russia if the United States did not move quickly to secure this self-governed territory of Denmark.
Well, definitely, as we just mentioned, I was just talking, Mira, Greenland is, very, very essential as far as the security in the Arctic region is concerned. And definitely, this is the reason why America wants to, obtain Greenland, because the aim of US President Donald Trump is to, definitely make the entire America wants to now build its hegemony in the entire Western Hemisphere, so that nothing happens against its whims and fancies, and that is a particular reason why Trump is stressing too much for taking this Greenland. Medha.
Aditya, appreciate you sharing all those details with us. With that, I step into a very short break. Thank you so much for watching.
सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम भी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
देगी मिर्च का तड़का अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Welcome back. You're watching Newsx and I'm Medha Sharan. An Aam Aadmi Party leader and RWA member was shot dead in northwest Delhi's Shalimar Bagh on 10 January 2026, with police suspecting the killing to be linked to the long-pending murder case of her husband, in which some of the accused are still absconding. The incident took place around 11 a.m. under the jurisdiction of the Shalimar Bagh police station. Police said Rachna Yadav's husband was shot dead by criminals nearly 3 years ago in 2023. Since then, she has been actively pursuing the case and had even approached the Supreme Court seeking justice. Some of the accused in her husband's murder are still absconding. Preliminary suspicion points towards the same criminals being involved in her killing as well. Now, investigations into the murder of 44-year-old Rachna Yadav, an Aam Aadmi Party worker and Residents Welfare Association member in Shalimar Bagh, have revealed that the two assailants used 2 motorcycles to execute and flee after the crime. According to the police, the attackers arrived in Shalimar Bagh on separate motorcycles on Saturday morning. While one motorcycle on which the shooter arrived remains untraced, the second was used for escape and later found abandoned on Helipad Road in Rohini near Urban Extension Road 2, which connects Delhi to Haryana. Javed Hussain, my colleague, joins us for more on this. जावेद, हमें पता चल रहा है कि शूटर का जो मोटरसाइकिल है इस केस में वो अभी भी अनट्रेसेबल है, बट उनका जो एस्केप बाइक था वो रोहिणी में अबैंडन मिला था।
जी बिल्कुल, देखिए इस रचना यादव मर्डर केस में जो दिल्ली पुलिस को जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में सामने आया कि 2 बाइक जो है वो इस्तेमाल किया गया था और जो अटैकर्स थे, जो हमलावर थे, उन्होंने शालीमार बाग में जिस तरीके से शनिवार की सुबह जो मोटरसाइकिल इस्तेमाल किया था और उसमें जो एक मोटरसाइकिल है वो आपको रोहिणी के अर्बन एक्सटेंशन रोड के पास जो है वो वहाँ पर जो कनेक्शन है और जिस तरीके से दिल्ली पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेशन को देखा है उस पूरे मामले में यही साफ है कि हमलावर जो थे उनका पूरा कनेक्शन है। जो 2 बाइक जिस तरह से इस्तेमाल किया गया, एक हरियाणा और दूसरा दिल्ली से कहीं ना कहीं कनेक्टिविटी है और दिल्ली पुलिस का कहना है कि पूरी तरीके से जो एग्जीक्यूशन किया गया था इस हमला में, इस अटैक में, जो जिस तरीके से सीसीटीवी भी साफ दिख रहा है कि किस तरीके से जो अटैकर्स है वो 2 बाइक का इस्तेमाल करते हैं और वहां से भागते हुए भी साफ दिख रहे हैं। फिलहाल पुलिस इस पूरे मामले की जांच में जुटी हुई है और पुलिस का कहना है कि तमाम हर एक एंगल्स को लेकर जो है इस पूरे मामले की जांच की जा रही है।
जावेद, इनके जो हस्बैंड का मर्डर केस है उसमें अभी इन्वेस्टिगेशन का स्टेटस क्या है? ये केस कोर्ट में है, क्या स्टेटस है इस केस का?
देखिए इस पूरे मामले में जो है जो साल 2023 में जिस तरीके से मर्डर हुआ था उनके पति का, उसके बाद इसमें जो रचना यादव एक कहीं ना कहीं विटनेस के तौर पे थी और ये जो सबसे मुख्य गवाह थी, तो इसको लेकर जो है वो काफी अहम जो दिल्ली पुलिस की जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन थी वो लगातार जो है इन्वेस्टिगेशन में कई सस्पेक्ट भी जो है वो सामने आए हैं और कई जो इसमें सस्पेक्ट थे उनके रोल को भी दिल्ली पुलिस एग्जामिन कर रही थी। लेकिन जिस तरीके से जो इस पूरे मामले में जो आरोपी थे उनके सीसीटीवी फुटेज, उनके मूवमेंट को जो है और जिस तरीके से उसमें उस वक्त पाया गया था कि 2 से 3 जो सस्पेक्ट हैं उसमें जो इस मर्डर केस में शामिल थे और जिस तरीके से रचना यादव इसकी पूरी तरीके से जो उनकी गवाह थी और उसके बाद रचना यादव को जिस तरीके से गोली मारी गई वहां पर, जिस तरह से उनकी मौत हुई, उससे दिल्ली पुलिस को साफ लगता है कि इस पूरे मामले में जो हमलावर और जो अटैकर्स थे वो उसी कनेक्शन से थे, क्योंकि रचना यादव इस पूरे अपने हस्बैंड के जो मर्डर की विटनेस थी और विटनेस के तौर पर जो ये पूरा केस जो आगे बढ़ रहा था और कहीं ना कहीं इसमें अहम रोल सामने आने वाला था, जिसको लेकर रचना यादव की गोली मारी गई और उसके बाद जो हमलावर थे, शूटर थे, कहीं ना कहीं वो हायर शूटर थे, उनको हायर किया गया था और पूरी तरीके से इस प्लानिंग को एग्जीक्यूट करके तभी इस वारदात को अंजाम दिया गया।
जावेद, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ ये सारी जानकारी शेयर करने के लिए। My colleague has spoken to the relative of Rachna Yadav. According to the relative, Rachna Yadav had also been attacked previously. Let's listen to it.
रचना यादव को आज सुबह 11 बजे दिन दहाड़े 2 लोग आते हैं और गोली मारकर चले जाते हैं। ऐसे में पूरे आसपास का माहौल जो है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा शॉक में है और हर कोई इसके पीछे की वजह जानने की जो कोशिश है वो कर रहे हैं। लेकिन कई सवाल जो है वो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर पर भी खड़े हो गए हैं और हमारे साथ उनके परिवार वाले जो है वो मौजूद हैं। रचना यादव के देवर जो हैं वो हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं। आप किस तरीके से इस पूरी घटना को देखते हैं, क्योंकि 2023 में पहले उनके हस्बैंड को इसी तरीके से गोली मारकर उनकी हत्या की गई और आज बताया जा रहा है जब उनको कल इस मामले में गवाही देनी थी तो आज उनका भी इस तरीके से गोली मारकर हत्या कर दी गई। आपको कैसे पता चला और क्या कुछ?
मेरे को भाई की बिटिया का फ़ोन आया था कि चाचा मम्मी को गोली मार दी गई है 10:30 बजे करीब। तो जैसे ही हम आए तो वो डेड हो चुकी थी। तो उन्होंने बताया भी कि भाई तारीख भी थी, आज वो जा रहे थे गवाही के लिए। मेन गवाही यही थी उसमें, उन जो विजेंद्र यादव जी का मर्डर हुआ था उसमें मेन गवाह थी ये। तो भाई का भी सेम ऐसे ही मर्डर किया गया था, वो बेचारे अपने वहाँ पे गांव में आए हुए थे भंडारे में, और इनका भी ऐसे ही, ये बेचारे वहाँ बता रहे थे किसी कोई डेथ हो गई थी, वहाँ से होके आई हुई थी।
तो उनके हस्बैंड की क्यों किया गया था और क्या लग रहा है?
वैसे ही अब वो उसका भी आज तक ना तो पुलिस वाले कुछ बता पाए हैं, ना हमें पता है कि भी किस वजह से उनका वो हुआ था मर्डर।
मतलब लड़ाई झगड़ा था किसी के साथ परिवार में?
ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था, ऐसा कोई
प्रॉपर्टी का कोई
नहीं, अभी तक ऐसा कोई सामने नहीं आई बात। नहीं नहीं, वैसे ही वो गांव के ही थे जिनका जो अरेस्ट हुए हैं, तो 6 जने थे, 6 में से 4 अरेस्ट हुए हैं, 2 बताते हैं अभी पीओ हैं वो। हाँ जी, वो अभी तक अरेस्ट नहीं हुए हैं।
अच्छा, ये बताइए कि आप जिस तरीके से बता रहे हैं आरडब्ल्यू की प्रेसिडेंट भी थी, और क्योंकि मेन जो कह सकते हैं गवाही जो है, गवाह जो है वो अपने हस्बैंड के केस में वही थी, उसके बाद क्या सिक्योरिटी नहीं थी, पुलिस नहीं थी क्या इलाके में कोई?
नहीं, कई बार इन्होंने प्रोटेक्शन मांगी थी पुलिस स्टेशन से, क्योंकि 2 बार पहले भी अटैक हो चुका था इन पे। एक बार तो इन शालीमार बाग में अटैक हुआ था, एक बार भलसवा गांव में अटैक हुआ था, और एक बार ये कोर्ट में जा रही थी डेट पे, तब वहाँ पे इनकी वॉचिंग की गई थी कि भाई कहाँ है क्या है, यानी कि अटैक करने की कोशिश की गई थी कोर्ट में भी। तो इन्होंने उनको एफआईआर भी कटी हुई है उसकी, जो गांव में भी गन चलाई गई थी उसकी भी एफआईआर कटी हुई है, जो शालीमार बाग में गन चलाई थी उसकी भी एफआईआर कटी हुई है, और जो कोर्ट में हुआ था उसकी भी इंटीमेशन भाभी ने उसमें पुलिस स्टेशन में दी थी, पर लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी कुछ ऐसा एक्शन हुआ नहीं, क्योंकि 2 साल 2.5 साल के करीब हो गए उनको फरार हुए, वो अभी तक अरेस्ट नहीं हुआ।
तो आपको लग रहा है पुलिस की लापरवाही साफ तौर पर देखने को मिली?
जी मैडम, अभी तक कुछ हुआ नहीं ना मैम, अब तक वो 2.5-3 साल से कोई फरार है, वो अब तक अरेस्ट नहीं हुआ, और 3 बार इनके ऊपर अटैक हो गया, तब भी कोई एक्शन नहीं हुआ।
क्या नाम बताया आपने?
मेरा नाम रवि है।
आपका क्या नाम है?
अशोक यादव।
अशोक जी, आप कौन लगते हैं?
भाभी लगती थी हमारी, तेवर में उनका, और मेरे बड़े भाई थे।
आपको क्या लग रहा है कि मतलब पहले पति को मारना, उसके बाद उनको भी, और खुले ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी सुनसान इलाके में किया गया हो, आरडब्ल्यू की प्रेसिडेंट उनके घर के बाहर उन्हें गोली मार दी जाती है इस तरीके से?
जी, मैं तो ये तो अंधा कानून है मैडम, क्योंकि 2023 में जब भाई साहब को गोली लगी, जब से हम इंसाफ मांग रहे हैं, भाभी हमारी बराबर आ रही है, जा रही है, अदालत में भी जा रही है, अपने हक के लिए लड़ रही है। आज जब उनको फैसले की घड़ी थी, जो गवाही होती है, क्योंकि मेन हमारी भाभी गवाह थी, तो फैसले की घड़ी थी, तो उन्होंने ये कार्यपूर्ण जो कार्य, मतलब कहते हैं कि उन्होंने ये गोली मारी है, ये कायरों का काम होता है। हम अपने इंसाफ के लिए लड़ेंगे नहीं क्या? हम अपने इंसाफ के लिए लड़ते हुए आ रहे थे, तो ये काम उन्होंने इस वजह से करा क्योंकि उन्हें आज गवाह होना था और उन्हें सजा मिलनी थी।
आप लोगों को क्या लगता है कि अभी भी कोई डर है आप लोगों के मन में? बेटियों को कोई डर है? क्योंकि पहले फादर पे अटैक, फिर मम्मी पे अटैक, और उसके बाद अभी भी क्योंकि अभी भी इंसाफ जो है वो अब तो और ज़्यादा मांगना पड़ेगा, अब तो माँ के लिए भी इंसाफ मांगना पड़ेगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मैडम जी, इंसाफ के लिए तो हमारी ये दोनों बेटियां बहुत मजबूत हैं, ये लड़ेंगी, ऐसा नहीं है। लेकिन देखो, हौसले इनके भी बुलंद है, लेकिन घबराए हुए हैं कि ये काम हमारे माता पिता के साथ हो गया तो हमारे साथ भी हो सकता है। इन बच्चों का ये सोचना है, और ये मुख्यमंत्री का एरिया है, उन्होंने इस संज्ञान पे जो है एक्शन लेना चाहिए कि उनके एरिया में एक आरडब्ल्यूए प्रधान का जो है दिन दिहाड़े गोली मार दी गई, तो ये तो बड़ी बात है ना मैडम।
आप लोग मुख्यमंत्री से भी मिलने की कोशिश करेंगे या फिर उन तक बात करने की कोशिश?
जी, मैं मुख्यमंत्री के यहाँ भी हम जाएंगे बच्चियों को लेके, दोनों को, कि भी अब जो हो गया, अब इनकी प्रोटेक्शन कौन करेगा? इनके लिए तो प्रोटेक्शन बहुत ज़रूरी है ना। तब दिन दहाड़े उनके विधानसभा में ऐसा हो गया तो फिर तो आम पब्लिक ही सेफ नहीं है, तो इसलिए इनकी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए हम सीएम के यहाँ जाएंगे।
बिल्कुल, तो देखिए साफ तौर पर बताया जा रहा है कि रचना यादव जो कि RWA प्रेसिडेंट भी रही, जिनका आज सुबह मर्डर किया गया, उनके ऊपर कई बार पहले भी अटैक जो है वो हो चुका था। उसके बाद भी आज कहीं ना कहीं बता रहे हैं कि पुलिस की लापरवाही है, क्योंकि उसके फादर का मतलब यानी कि अगर हम रचना यादव के पति के मर्डर की बात करें तो उसमें भी बताया जा रहा है कि 6 एक्यूज जो है वो शामिल थे, जिनमें से अभी भी एक जो प्राइम एक्यूज है, जो मास्टरमाइंड है, वो एब्सकॉर्डिंग था, वो उसको पकड़ा नहीं गया था और कहीं ना कहीं उसी का हाथ इस मामले में भी बताया जा रहा है। मैं आरजू सेठ, कैमरा पर्सन दीपक के साथ, इंडिया न्यूज़ एक्स।
Shifting focus now, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has spoken on his participation in the critical minerals ministerial meeting hosted by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. In a post on X, Vaishnav stated that strengthening critical mineral supply chains is crucial for boosting the resilience of India's manufacturing ecosystem and its rapidly expanding electronics sector. Aditya Vadhavan, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Aditya, we now have the Union Minister coming out and stressing the importance of critical minerals as he attended this US-hosted critical minerals meet.
Well, definitely, Megha, if you see, definitely Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has tweeted that, that he has participated in a critical minerals ministerial meeting hosted by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. So, this is definitely a need of the hour, Definitely, these rare earth elements and critical minerals are very, very essential to any country's economy because it has definitely a positive impact for the country. And definitely, if you see, at this juncture, even why is Trump, calling for the fact that he wants to take away Greenland, because Greenland is a country which is rich in minerals, and definitely this is a very welcome move because this is a very welcome move as far as the trade deal between India and US is concerned. Trade Secretary, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent conducted a meeting where Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav also participated. So indeed, at this juncture, it can be thought that talks between India and US are on the high trajectory as far as the trade talks are concerned, and definitely there could be a significant development regarding this.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for sharing all those details with us. Shifting focus now. In Puducherry, a private bus belonging to PKT Travels caught fire on the Mudaliarpet 100 feet road flyover late Wednesday night. All 20 passengers escaped safely after an auto driver alerted them in time. The bus was completely gutted in the blaze with passengers' belongings destroyed. Fire and rescue teams rushed to the spot and doused the fire. Police suspect an engine malfunction may have triggered the incident. Raj Kiran, my colleague, joins us for more on this. We're learning of a fire that has taken place in Puducherry. Can you share more details with us, please?
Yes, Megha, a private bus belongs to PKT Travels caught fire in Mudalarpet, where in Puducherry on Wednesday night. At the time of accident, around 20 passengers was traveling in that. So when an auto driver had noticed that some fire sparks has been noticed in the bus, and immediately he came front of the bus driver and alerted the bus. So bus driver just stopped the vehicle beside. Later, all the passengers, 20 passengers, escaped safely from the bus, and the bus was gutted and we also known that the passengers' belongings were totally gutted, and the firefighter immediately, the locals who were on the road have called the firefighters. So immediately they have reached the spot and dosed the fire. So there is nothing like life lost here, but however, the fire has destroyed the passengers' belongings who are carrying with them. This is what till now the update is.
All right, Raj, thank you for sharing all those details with us. Olympic medalist wrestler Sushil Kumar has moved a fresh bail plea in the Sagar Dhankar murder case, arguing that circumstances have materially changed now that all material prosecution witnesses have been examined by a Rohini court. Sushil Kumar, the two-time Olympic medalist, is the main accused in the 2021 murder of junior wrestler Sagar Dhankar, who died after being assaulted outside Delhi's Chhatrasal Stadium. His earlier regular bail granted by the Delhi High Court in March 2025 was cancelled by the Supreme Court in August 2025 after concerns that key witnesses had yet to be examined. My colleague Sambhav Sharma joins us for more on this. Sambhav, we're learning that Olympic medalist Sushil Kumar has moved a fresh bail plea in the Sagar Dhankar murder case.
Well, absolutely. Here, this bail application is likely to be heard tomorrow in the Rohini court because in the Rohini court, the bail application has been moved by wrestler Sushil Kumar, who has moved this bail application for regular bail in the Sagar Dhankar murder case. Remember earlier, as you rightly pointed out, he was granted regular bail by the Delhi High Court in March 2025, but later on, Supreme Court in August 2025, on the grounds of material witness had not yet been examined, has cancelled his regular bail. Now he's moved another bail petition in the lower court. Wrestler Sushil Kumar has moved this application in the Rohini court where the matter is going on. It's likely that the Rohini court is going to hear this matter either today or tomorrow. It is to be seen what the Rohini court says in this particular case. And also, when the Supreme Court, had granted Sushil Kumar liberty to file a fresh bail application before the concerned court, and now he's filed this fresh bail application in the Rohini court on the ground that there is a change in the circumstances, and there are fresh grounds which have arisen, and now he's requested the Rohini court to grant him bail. And the matter is in the court. It is to be seen what the court says next in this particular case.
Thank you so much, Sambhav, for sharing all those details with us. Moving our attention to Iran now, according to reports, some senior aides in President Donald Trump's administration, led by Vice President J.D. Vance, are urging President Trump to try diplomacy before any military strikes against Iran. Reportedly, the White House is weighing an offer from Tehran to hold talks on Iran's nuclear program, even as President Trump appears to be considering military action against Iran. According to reports, Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are together presenting President Trump with a range of options regarding how to deal with Iran. Aditya Vadhavan, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Aditya, we're learning these reports are coming in that people in the Trump administration, top officials rather, are urging Donald Trump to seek diplomacy rather than striking the country.
Well, absolutely. Several of the Republicans, several key leaders in the Trump administration are out the fact that, U.S. President Donald Trump should, go ahead with a military strike on Iran and rather push through diplomacy as to how they can deal with this Iranian regime. And definitely, recently also, Iranian Foreign Minister Agrachi has said that they are ready for nuclear talks with the U.S. This had come just yesterday. So indeed, there are a lot of sections in the Trump administration which feel that it is not the right time, it is not right to, strike Iran at this juncture. And definitely, from here on, it needs to be seen whether Trump takes the route of forced military strike or diplomacy. This will need to be seen. Medha.
Aditya, I would please request you to stay on with me. Shifting focus now to Greenland. Amid US President Donald Trump's threats of having to do something about Greenland, US Congressman Randy Fine introduced a bill seeking the annexation of the Arctic island and its eventual admission as a US state, as the push to control the strategically located island continues by Trump and his administration. Congressman Fine, who is a lawmaker in the US House of Representatives, in a post on X stated that he had introduced the Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act, legislation that would authorize the US president to pursue all necessary means to bring Greenland into the American Union. Fine framed the move as essential to counter the growing influence of Russia and China in the Arctic and to safeguard US national security, a claim also made by the US president. The lawmaker further asserted that US adversaries are attempting to establish a foothold in the Arctic and argued that acquiring Greenland would prevent rival powers from controlling the region and would help secure America's northern flank. Aditya, we're now learning that a bill has been introduced in the US Congress seeking Greenland's annexation amid Trump's threats to actually annex this autonomous island that is part of Denmark.
Well, absolutely. This is very disastrous. Such a bill has been introduced in the US Congress. And definitely now, since the European Union has given, guarantees, that if Greenland is attacked by the US, then a charter of since Greenland is a part of the NATO, a security charter regarding the NATO countries will be invoked, and all the NATO countries will defend Greenland if necessary. If US President Donald Trump decides to give his go-ahead on the military intervention in Greenland, because it is not at all acceptable to the European allies, and definitely this will be very catastrophic for the entire region. Medha.
Aditya, I would please request you to stay on with me. Greenland's government and Prime Minister issued separate statements pushing back against US President Donald Trump's latest comments about taking over the territory, which Trump has said will happen one way or another. The Greenlandic government statement said it cannot accept the escalating US rhetoric in any way and reaffirmed its position as both a part of Denmark and the NATO military alliance. In a Facebook post, Greenland Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen acknowledged the international attention on the territory's future reflected its strategic importance for Arctic security. Yet he underscored that discussions about strengthening Greenland's defenses must be held in close cooperation with all NATO allies, including the United States, and in cooperation with Denmark. Aditya, we're now learning that amid the tensions that are rising between Greenland and the United States, both the president as well as the government, the Prime Minister rather, as well as the government have issued separate statements amid US's rhetoric to annex the island.
Well, absolutely, Medha. The two separate governments of Greenland and Denmark have, said that, this is not at all desirable. What Trump is saying that, and on several occasions in the past also, the several key leaders in the Greenland have said that Greenland is not for sale, and definitely, this is not a very, very irresponsible statement by US President Donald Trump, and he wants that, he wants to take the Greenland because considering the fact, there are possible reasons with regard to it, that if Russia is to attack America, the Arctic region is one of the most beneficial regions from where Russia can, push strikes against the United States. So clearly, at this juncture, it is a very concerning development that is undergoing, and to be seen how things unfold in the news. Medha.
Aditya, would please request you to stay on with me. Now, according to reports, Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev said that Greenlanders could vote to join Russia if US President Donald Trump did not move quickly to secure the Arctic island. While Russia makes no claim to Greenland, it has long monitored the island's strategic role in Arctic security, given its position on North Atlantic routes and the presence there of a major US military and space surveillance facility. Trump has revived his push for the United States to take control of Greenland, which is a self-governing Danish territory, arguing that Washington needs to own it to deter Russia. Aditya, we're now also seeing that Russia has come forward and said that Greenlanders could vote to join Russia if the United States did not move quickly to secure this self-governed territory of Denmark.
Well, definitely, as we just mentioned, I was just talking, Medha, Greenland is, very, very essential as far as the security in the Arctic region is concerned. And definitely, this is the reason why America wants to, obtain Greenland, because the aim of US President Donald Trump is to, definitely make the entire America wants to now build its hegemony in the entire Western Hemisphere, so that, nothing happens against its whims and fancies. And that is a particular reason why Trump is stressing too much for taking this Greenland. Medha.
Aditya, appreciate you sharing all those details with us. With that, I step into a very short break. Thank you so much for watching.
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम भी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचदे ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिल के जश्न मनावांगे
लोहड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
आपके घर के खाने में रेस्टोरेंट जैसा स्वाद ले आए MDH का शाही पनीर मसाला। पनीर को क्या मस्त बना डाला।
Welcome back. You're watching Newsx and I'm Medha Sharan. The situation for Hindus in Bangladesh remains highly concerning as of January 2026 under the interim government led by Mohammad Yunus. Hindus, who form about 7 to 8% of the population of the roughly 12 to 15 million people, have faced ongoing reports of targeted violence, including killings, arson, assaults, rapes, looting, and vandalism of homes, businesses, and temples. These incidents have intensified in recent months, particularly since late 2025 amid political instability following Sheikh Hasina's ouster in August 2024 and ahead of planned elections in February 2026. Now, a latest report released by the Human Rights Commission for Bangladeshi Minorities, exclusively accessed by Newsx, has confirmed 116 targeted killings in the past 6 months. Now, let us in fact take a look at this report. This report says that 116 minority killings occurred within 7 months in Bangladesh. And this report talks about the documentation of targeted killings as well as patterns of violence and institutional failures by the government in Bangladesh. Now, if you take a look at the historical context and moral imperatives of this report, firstly, the most important thing that it talks about is that for nearly 8 decades, minorities in Bangladesh have endured recurring cycles of violence, dispossession, and institutional abandonment. It further goes on to talk about the pogroms of 1946 as well as 1950, 64, 71, and obviously the successive persecution in the following years of 1989, 1990, 2001, 2004, 2012, 2015, 2020, 2024, and now 2025. Now, this report talks about violence against minorities that has not only been episodic but structural as well as recurring across generations. Now, a very important point that this report makes out is that following the formation of the interim government led by Dr. Mohammad Yunus, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Remember, Mohammad Yunus is currently leading the interim government in Bangladesh and is also a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Now, coming on to the demographic evidence of this persecution, we can also see that this talks about the population of Muslims as well as Hindus and other minorities in the country, which, as you can see, is declining. You can see this graph that's red in color, which shows the declining population of Hindus across through 1946 to up until 2020, and we can also see the fact that the population of Muslims has risen from about 70% back in 1946 to about 91% in 2020. This decline, the report says, cannot be explained by natural demographic variation alone. Now, what exactly happened? This report says that between June 6, 2025 as well as June 5, 2026, 116 killings of individuals belonging to minority communities across all 8 divisions in at least 45 districts of Bangladesh have been reported. Now, some of the notable divisions in Bangladesh are, of course, Dhaka, Mymensingh, Sylhet, among others. Now, this also talks about the fact that the killings include mob lynchings, targeted murders, custodial and suspicious deaths, as well as killings following false allegations. And we can also see that this is not limited just to rural areas but to both rural and urban settings as well. So, this incidents demonstrate a nationwide pattern rather than localized one. Additionally, we have also the fact that what this report says that it can prove versus what it alleges. Now, each killing documented in this report is supported by structural and cross-verified evidences, including observer reports, direct verification with local police stations, as well as family testimony and corroborated media coverage. Apart from that, let us look at some of the key findings of this report. Now, the first key finding is that it's it's a nationwide phenomena. These killings were documented across all 8 divisions of Bangladesh, establishing the fact that these killings are not localized but more national in scale. And we also have the second key finding, which says that a significant concentration of killings occurred repeatedly in specific districts, demonstrating entrenched risk zones rather than random incidents. As you can see that this map right here on your screen shows the district level distribution of verified minority killings from the time period of June 6, 2025 to January 5, 2026. And you can see the 8 divisions of Bangladesh where you have Rangpur, Rajshahi, Khulna, Barisal, Chittagong, as well as Dhaka, Sylhet. And you can see that there have been reported killings of minorities in all of these 8 divisions in Bangladesh. Apart from that, these incidents also span metropolitan areas, municipalities and rural unions, showing that minority communities face lethal risk despite their location. So these are not just rural incidents, these are also incidents that are taking place in urban areas where minorities are being targeted through mob lynchings as well as targeted killings. Now we also have another key finding of this report, which is cross-divisional patterning, where similar typologies and response failures appear across division, undermining claims of isolated local unrest. So these are not just claims of isolated local unrest, but there are response failures also being reported as part of this report. Now we have here the division that shows us that in the Barisal division alone, 8 people have been killed across all these 116. We have 2 females as well as 6 males. Now the most number of killings actually took place in Dhaka. You know, Dhaka, a division which also houses Dhaka, which is the capital of the country. It has recorded 25 killings of minorities, mainly 3 females, which is obviously 1 girl as well, which is rather shocking. We also have 22 males, among which 1 was a boy as well. Now all of them belong to the Hindu community and their ethnicity was of course Bengali. Now the second highest number of killings took place in Khulna, where you had 12 killings, which were again all Hindus. And you also have Rajshahi, where 13 killings took place, which is 4 females as well as 9 males, and 12 Hindus as well as 1 Christian. So we can see that majority of the killings are targeted towards the Hindu community, but we also have Buddhists as well as Christians who have been targeted in these killings as well. Now let us look at the incident typologies. Now these killings during these reported period follows a distinct and recurring pattern of violence rather than random or isolated incidents. First of all is the targeted murders. Now these constitute the largest category of killings. Victims were deliberately selected and attacked following identifiable processes of threats, harassment, intimidation. And these killings frequently occurred in victims' homes as well as workplaces or while they were traveling. Methods, as part of these targeted murders, you had methods like stabbing, beating, forced poisoning, shooting and other forms of direct lethal assault that took place against minorities. We also have mob lynchings that have taken place in Bangladesh. Now, victims were killed by organized or spontaneous crowds, often incited by fabricated allegations of theft, blasphemy or perceived moral transgressions. Now let's remember, blasphemy is often used as a tool to settle scores with minorities in Bangladesh. These killings unfolded publicly and violently, frequently in the presence of large number of onlookers. We also have custodial and suspicious deaths here as well, where this category includes deaths that occurred during police custody, during detention or under circumstances that strongly suggest coercion, abuse or investigative negligence. Apart from that, we also have killings that are related to security, lethal force as well as attack related deaths, where you have communal assaults, arson campaigns, destruction of homes and as well as religious institutions and mass intimidation operations, where you have seen minorities undergo forced displacement as well as their properties being seized. All right. I am being joined by Mr. Buroshiva Das Gupta, who is a senior journalist. Sir, this damning report has been released by the Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minorities, wherein it says that 116 minority killings took place in 7 months. A so-called Nobel laureate is in power, and the report has also made a critical note that following the formation of UNIS government, the situation has deteriorated sharply. What explains this?
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, the report that you read out is very revealing, is very detailed. And this is what we have been suspecting over the years. Um, as the report itself says, that there has been sporadic killing of the minorities in Bangladesh almost since its, creation from, say, from 1971, creation of Bangladesh. There has been earlier, there has been, but I don't think there has been much records. What has happened is, if we look into the history, 1947, when the East Bengal was created, and all this happened because these violence between Hindu Muslim, there has been riots in Bengal, in Punjab, and one of the consequences of this separation or division was because of these riots. But you have to understand that these riots were on both sides. I mean, there was Hindu killing, there was Muslim killing. But these things that is happening now in Bangladesh is just one-sided. The Hindus are there in minorities. Well, one might ask, why should the Hindus stay at all? I mean, the figures show that from, say, 70% of Muslim, which shows that the minorities could be as high as 30% in, say, in the 50s. Now it has come down to, I don't know, 6 or 7%. You can see how there has been a systematic elimination of the minorities over the years. And there has been no support at all from anywhere. The Hindus are almost in a helpless state, it seems. But I mean, the only thing that we sometimes hear is that they live together so that one helps the other, but that is also a very weak resistance to what is happening. The turmoil, that Bangladesh is going through, there are many layers that's happening. I mean, from say the liberation in 1971, Mujib was taken as a hero, but then what happened was, everybody knows how there has been very strong resistance against Mujib himself. Now, for example, in this present situation, Mujib has now, the man who liberated the country, now he has become a villain. His family, has been, earlier everybody was butchered except the present, the past, the Prime Minister, the daughter, Sheikh Hasina, and maybe another daughter. The rest of the family was just eliminated. You see, there are not just the Hindu-Muslim riots here. There are a lot of other forces that operate here. Destabilizing Bangladesh is one of the game plans of global disturbance. There has been concern, there has been interest, Chinese interest, there has been American interest, and Pakistan. You can understand they could never overcome this humiliation they suffered in 1971, and many of these pro-Pakistani leaders stayed there. They are described in the Rajakars. So, given a point, they will always try to humiliate India. And I must appreciate the Indian patience that has been, that we have seen. There can be, I don't know how there can be a counter. Suppose somebody it would be very, disastrous if the same thing starts happening in Bengal and in rest of India, killing the Muslims or the communities here. But then there are some sporadic happenings also happening, but in most cases it's misdirected. But the things that is happening in Bangladesh is continually on the rise, and this will continue to happen till say the elections, which are round the corner. That's what that we heard. If at all the election is taking place, because the kind of violence that is happening almost without any, attempt to stall it. I don't know how the elections will take place, but there is really an effort. There should be an effort from the part on the, from on the part of Indian government also. It's not just, I would say sending them strongly worded letters or, warning letters saying that this has to stop, but there has to be some action. Maybe, this is just thinking out of the box. Like, for example, when we had in 1971, we had the Mukti Juddho, the people, the Bangladeshis who were trained by the Indian army. The Indian army was there to train them to fight the Rajakas or the Pakistani army. There could be some, if they are failing to, have this pressure of killing of the Hindus, there should be almost a kind of a attempt, an offer from Indians that there should be some Indian forces placed in India, but this can't go on. The kind of killings for these poor Hindus that's there, it has already been decimated. It's come to so small a number, but this can't go on. This has to stop somewhere. There can be, I wouldn't say it's a threat or something, that there can be some kind of a compulsion so that you take the benefit of the Indian army, so that there can be somewhere, some place where they can take some kind of support, survive. This can't go on. You can see the kind of deaths
Yes, sir.
almost every day, and these people are absolutely helpless. The recent killing was on Sunday was an auto rickshaw. What is he going to? How will he defend himself if there is a 10 people, armed people come and assault him? It's just not possible. So there has to be some method which they can find some support somewhere in to save their
Sir,
their
if you
lives.
could just hold your thoughts, I would like to come back to this report once again, and would like to just walk our viewers through the district hotspots of these killings. Now, as you can see on your screens, Chittagong has recorded a count of 11, which is one of the highest from what I can see here. 11 targeted incidents against minorities have been reported from Chittagong. In the Chittagong division, we also have killings that have taken place in Mymensingh as well as other areas like Rajbari, Rangpur, Sylhet, and we also have Cox's Bazar as well as Dhaka, where 5 killings have taken place. Now let's remember, Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh. Apart from that, we also should look at the demographics of this. If we come to gender distribution, we can see the fact that males have been overrepresented in these killings, in the fact that the targeting of males has been more than the targeting of females, reflecting both their exposure as primary income earners and their heightened vulnerability in targeted and communal violence. Now, if we come back to the age distribution of this, we can also see that this violence disproportionately affects youth and working age adults, as well as core economic and social backbone of families and communities. Now, if we take a look at some of the patterns that the report has talked about, is the fact that there has been a reluctance or refusal to file FIRs. Now, in multiple cases, families have reported that police has declined to register FIRs, or there were cases where FIRs were eventually recorded, but investigations frequently remained inactive for an extended period of time, or with no visible evidence of the case progressing at all. We also have the fact that in a substantial portion of cases, no suspects were detained despite perpetrators being named, eyewitness accounts, as well as community identification. So this just goes on to show the apathy of the system. And we also have the fact that families and witnesses in Bangladesh of these minorities have reported harassment as well as threats and pressure not to pursue any legal action. And we also have forced or coerced compromise, where in some localities informal settlements were promoted in lieu of criminal prosecution, effectively extinguishing accountability. So we can see that these are some of the documented institutional behaviors when it comes to the killings of minorities in Bangladesh. Sir, with that, let me come back to you. Now, you also talked about the perspective of minorities. Now, minorities in Bangladesh were about 30% in 1946, but by 2020, it's come down to about 9%. Would you, in your opinion, say that this is actually a systematic ethnic cleansing of non-Muslims that is taking place in Bangladesh?
Well, yes, to a large extent, there has been killings, and the thing is, I mean, I'm really surprised, and this has been definitely done with the support even of the authorities, because they don't take any. I mean, the complaints are not looked into. There is no support for them, and this is being done. I mean, quite systematically. This has been being done for over the years. And I think there is, it's time now, India itself should act. India acting in the sense that since the report itself has identified, the concentration of these deaths. I mean, one can't say that where will you, put an armed, an outfit or something of that kind to guard the people. You can definitely put some armed guards in the areas where you have these murders, these killings happening in greater number. They can be done in the city, in the heart of the city, in Dhaka, in Chittagong, and other places. I mean, this is not difficult to identify. I mean, since the report itself has been able to identify, the authorities know quite well where such things are happening. You put armed guards there. Why won't you do it? So if they cannot do it, I think there should be a pressure from India that if we cannot do it, we will do it. In fact, if India could, enter into Bangladesh and help them out to get their independence, why can't India also save the Hindus there? I mean, this is possible. I mean, there should be some rationality in the entry into Bangladesh. I mean, it's not just conquering the country or anything of its sort, but you need help. You are not being able to give them support, and this genocide can't go on.
All right, sir. Additionally, my colleague Rumi Mishra is joining us to walk us through this report as well.
I have this report in front of me. We see the cases of mob lynching and rumor-driven killings, starting from Ruplal Das's murder, who was 40 years old in Rangpur. He was alleged for theft. He was beaten to death by mob following false theft accusations. Then again in Rangpur, there's 35-year-old Pradeep Das, who was again alleged for theft. He was killed in the same incident as SL20. Both victims are in fact related. Then the next guy is Sanjay De, who was 45 years old. He was killed in Lakshmipur on communal retaliation allegations. His death was linked to the same wave of violence. Then we have Bimal Rajbanshi in Dhaka, and Deepu Chandra Das, of course, in Mymensingh, who was lynched, burnt. His clothes were also stripped off on just allegations of blasphemy. we have Amrit Mandal, or also known as Samrat Mandal, who was killed in Rajbari in Bangladesh on the allegations of extortionism and he was lynched by a mob. Now we have these pictures right here. This picture here is of Ruplal Das, who was killed in Rangpur on 9th of August 2025. This video was captured during the mob assault of Ruplal Das in Taraganj, Rangpur. As he was returning home at night, he was falsely accused of theft and beaten by a crowd. He later died from his injuries. The next picture on our screens is of Ruplal Das and his mob lynching. This case happened in Taraganj of Rangpur of 9th of August 2025. Another picture we have here is now very famous. It's the mob lynching of Deepu Chandra Das, who was not just stripped, lynched, dragged on the streets, but also set on fire in front of a mob that looks so interested in just making videos of what has happened. They were all screaming, in joy. This is the aftermath of the blasphemy-triggered mob killing of Deepu Chandra Das in Mymensingh on 18th of December 2025. Then comes Amrit Mandal, or also known as Samrat Mandal, who was killed in Pangsha of Rajbari district in Bangladesh. He is also another victim of mob lynching. He was lynched on allegations of being an extortionist, but those allegations were never in fact confirmed. Over to you, Mom.
All right, with that, let me go across to Mr. Das Gupta once again. Sir, now, during the genocide in Bangladesh, Hindus were also targeted specifically, even though Bengali Muslims were also targeted as well. Now, would you agree, or would you say in your opinion that Bangladesh is perhaps now becoming the new East Pakistan, considering the fact that minorities are being lynched in the country and the interim government continues to remain silent and no credible action is actually ever taken against the perpetrators?
Well, as I told you, I mean, there has not been any counter to this. I mean, what happened in, say, in the early, mid 40s. I mean, before the independence, when East Pakistan was created, there were riots. They were killing out Hindus. As well as Muslims. But here it is almost whatever has been happening, it is happening one-sided. So there is hardly any record of the Hindus countering these attacks on them. So this is a thing which is happening periodically, and this is actually a sign of Pakistan coming back into power into Bangladesh, and they have always been trying it. I mean, it's because of maybe Sheikh Hasina, who has been a friend of India, but possibly because of her own faults, she had created a situation where people rose against her. But that is being used today by those pro-Pakistani forces to hand over Bangladesh again to Pakistan. And there is, I told you at the very beginning, there is international support. There is support of China and to some extent the USA as well. I mean, perhaps that Sheikh Hasina herself said that Mohammed Yunus is an agent of the US forces. I mean, they have their personal grudges, Mohammed Yunus and the lady Prime Minister, but then that's different. But the thing is, this is happening and this has to stop. I think now it's time India almost forces them. If you cannot give support or give any support to the Hindu minority Hindus, then let us give it to us. We will give them the support. We will create outposts at these vulnerable areas and give them the support. That has to be done. Or what has happened, whether I doubt whether that will happen, let there be the democratic election that has been promised so far. Let the elections happen. I think things might improve after the election is done. But I doubt whether the election will ever happen at all.
All right, Mr. Das Gupta, appreciate your time here at Newsx. Thank you for sharing all those insights with us. Meanwhile, let me also go across to this report and list out the names of some of the victims that were killed. As you can see on your screens, we obviously had the mob assault on Ruplal Das in Rangpur while he was returning home at night. We also have the screen grab of the mob lynching of Ruplal Das as well as Pradeep Das in Rangpur. We have the lynching of Deepu Das as well in Mymensingh, as well as Amrit Mandal, who was lynched in Rajbari after being falsely labelled as an extortionist. We also have Durjoy Chaudhary, a young minority man from Cox's Bazar who later died in police lockup as well. Apart from that, we also have well, that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching.
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम भी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज Newsx का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त मजबूत जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
आज सारे मोहल्ले हाजी खुशियों दी तुम भी बाजी हर स्वाद दिले चटकारे नचते ने सारे बाजी लोड़ी दी बधाइयां आज मिलके जश्न मनावांगे
लोड़ी दियां लख लख बधाइयां
हो असली मसाले सच सच MDH
Welcome back. You're watching Newsx with me, Medha. Now, China has yet again claimed the Shaksgam Valley area of Jammu and Kashmir as its own. It is building a road to Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which passes through this area. India has raised strong objections to this and has consistently opposed any illegal foreign construction in this area. India also termed China's control over this area as illegal occupation, according to the Global Times, which is a Chinese mouthpiece. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said on Monday, 12th January 2026, that the area in question is part of China. Building infrastructure in its own territory is China's right and cannot be questioned. Pakistan illegally occupied the Shaksgam Valley in 1948 and ceded the area to China in 1963. Let's in fact now take a look at how Pakistan sold the Shaksgam Valley to China. Now remember, China does not India does not, India says that this Shaksgam Valley is part of Jammu and Kashmir and has not recognized this unlawful occupation by China. Now, how did Pakistan sell Shaksgam to China? Now, this comes through the 1963 agreement, which is called the Sino-Pakistan Boundary Agreement, which was signed on 2nd March 1963 between Pakistan and China. So this was handed over to China by Pakistan in the year 1963 through an agreement called the Sino-Pakistan Agreement. Now the agreement intended to settle border between Pakistan's controlled area in the north and China's Xinjiang province along Karakoram range. Now let's remember, China actually governs Shaksgam as part of its Xinjiang autonomous territory. Now, what does it entail? Now, this agreement intended to settle border between Pakistan's controlled area in the north and China's Xinjiang province along the Karakoram range. So, as part of this agreement, it intended to settle the border between Pakistan as well as China in the year 1963. Now, the agreement dealt with the Trans-Karakoram Tract, which includes the Shaksgam Valley. Now, through this agreement in the year 1963, Pakistan had given China the Shaksgam Valley. Now, Pakistan accepted China's claims over this area, which covers roughly about 5,180 square kilometers of territory. Now, through this very agreement, Pakistan had handed over Shaksgam Valley to China, which is roughly about 5,000 square kilometers of territory. Now, the deal effectively recognized the border as China and Pakistan agreed on the boundary line. We also have, as per Article 6, now once the Kashmir dispute is finally settled, its sovereign can renegotiate the boundary with China. Now, this is a future clause that is there in this agreement, which says that this dispute, once it's finally settled, can the sovereign there renegotiate the boundary with China. Now, let's say remember that Pakistan had so-called sold Shaksgam Valley to Pakistan in the year 1963, and it was an agreement that was signed by Ayub Khan as well as back then Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and the Foreign Minister of China. Now, India does not recognize these claims. Joining me on the telecast is Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, who is a former diplomat. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Now, China insists that the construction in Shaksgam Valley is justified as it is a part of the land parcel ceded to it by Pakistan under the 1963 China-Pakistan Boundary Agreement. India doesn't recognize this agreement and hence has raised objections. So, what should be India's next step if China continues construction?
Good morning, Medha. You see, this is an issue which has to be resolved with China as well as with Pakistan. You know, this territory is part of the Pak-occupied Kashmir, and China has taken advantage of its position and Pakistan has ceded this territory. Legally, it belongs to India, but I don't know what can India do under these circumstances, but we will have to raise diplomatic objections both to Pakistan and to China on the ongoing construction on that area. Now, this is an issue which has been there since 1956 or 60. It was actually at the time before 1962 war, when Jawaharlal Nehru also did not, take action against it. In fact, there was a statement in the parliament that why do you bother about this land? Not a blade of grass grows there. And that is the problem. I think we have to take it up diplomatically with China and Pakistan both.
Additionally, sir, many believe that China is trying to seek to validate its hold on the area with investments as part of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Do you think this can legitimize China's claims over a territory that India has said that it has occupied illegally?
You see, the actual possession lies with Pakistan, and they have constructed with the help of China all those roads and infrastructure. Now we have, raised objections, we have recorded our objection, but this is an issue which have to be resolved either through diplomacy. If not, then one will have to fight a war. Now, I don't know whether the government of India is ready to fight a war at this moment, but as of now, I don't think we can do much about it except for raising a diplomatic concern and recording our objection officially.
Additionally, sir, this area also forms an integral part of the CPEC route, and India has officially objected to CPEC routes passing through its official territory. How important are these areas for China and Pakistan strategically?
Yes, Meda, I'm not able to hear you properly, but this is very complicated trilateral issue which India should raise very forcefully. This is the time to raise this issue. And, Pakistan should be told that they have no right on this territory and nothing can be constructed. And that was one of the reasons that we did not participate in Belt and Road and Belt, initiative of China, Road and Belt initiative of China. But unfortunately, the China continues to do the construction in the area which, legally belongs to India as per the Treaty of Accession, which the Maharaja of Kashmir signed with India in 48, sorry.
All right, Ambassador Gauri Shankar Gupta, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Meanwhile, my colleague Ajay Chandya, the Jammu and Kashmir Bureau Chief, has spoken to Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, Kavinder Gupta, on the Shaksgam Valley issue. Let's listen in.
सक्सदाम वैली को लेकर एक बार फिर से चीन का विवादित बयान सामने आया है, जिसमें चीन अब सक्सदाम वैली को अपना बताने की कोशिश कर रहा है। वो इलाका दरअसल भारत का है, जम्मू कश्मीर का हिस्सा है, जिसे पाकिस्तान ने जबरन कब्जाया था और अब चीन को दिया हुआ है। मेरे साथ बात करने के लिए लद्दाख के एलजी कविंद्र गुप्ता जी हैं। सर, क्या ऐसे देखते हैं चीन का सक्सदाम वैली पर इस तरह से जबरन बयानबाजी करना, कब्जा करना और वहाँ पे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाना, क्या लगता है, सच्चाई क्या है?
देखिए, ये एक साजिश है और इस प्रकार की कोशिशें पहले भी होती रही हैं। कभी अरुणाचल को अपना बताया जाता है और वही कारण है कि इस प्रकार की जो गलतियां हैं पहले भी चीन ने की हैं, जिसको स्वीकार नहीं किया जाएगा। और भारत सरकार का ये प्रस्ताव कि ये पूरा जो कश्मीर है हमारा है, सारे का सारा है, और ये भारत की संसद में दोनों सदनों में एकजुट से ये प्रस्ताव पास हुआ है, तो इस प्रकार की कोई कोशिश को नाकामयाब बनाया जाए।
जो जानकारी मिल रही है, चीन वहाँ पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बना रहा है, रोड बना रहा है, काराकोरम के बिल्कुल साथ लगता है, तो ये भारत के लिए कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है और ख़ासतौर पे भारत का हिस्सा है, भारत का रुख इस पर क्या रहेगा?
देखिए, भारत अपने आप में सक्षम है और बातचीत के साथ ये सारा मसला मुझे लगता है सुलझा लिया जाएगा। चाइना की जो इस प्रकार की हरकतें पहले भी होती रही हैं, जो कि स्वीकार्य नहीं है, तो जल्द ही इसके परिणाम आपको सामने आएंगे।
लगता है पाकिस्तान ने जो किया है, पाकिस्तान को इसका भुगतान करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये जो इलाका था ये पाकिस्तान के कब्जे का वो कश्मीर है जिसको 1963 में पाकिस्तान ने चीन को दिया था, और ये ज़रूरी हो जाता है कि भारत को ये पाकिस्तान को इसका नतीजा भुगतना पड़ेगा, भारत एक्शन करे।
बिल्कुल, इस तरह की कोई भी जो एक कोशिश है जैसे मैंने कहा है कि पाकिस्तान एक बिकाऊ मुल्क हो चुका है, वो अपने समय समय पर अपने आर्थिक स्थिति को ठीक करने के लिए इस प्रकार के दूसरे देशों को करता है, लेकिन उसको ये समझना चाहिए कि भारत की जो ज़मीन है उसका एक एक जो जगह है वो हमारी है, और इस प्रकार की कोई हरकत बर्दाश्त नहीं की जाएगी।
लद्दाख में गैलवान के बाद चीन कोई भी हरकत हिमाकत करने की कोशिश नहीं कर पाया। लगता है कि चीन को ये याद रखना चाहिए कि अब भारत वो भारत नहीं रहा।
देखिए, हम अपने आप में सक्षम हैं, हम हमारी जो नीति रही है वो ये रही है कि हम विस्तारवादी नहीं हैं, लेकिन अपनी ज़मीन का एक एक जो हिस्सा है वो हमारे पूरे अधिकार में है, और उसको किसी भी प्रकार की इस प्रकार की जो कोशिश है उसको नाकामयाब बनाया जाएगा। चीन को ये समझना चाहिए।
शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। ये थे एलजी लद्दाख, जिन्होंने स्पष्ट तौर पे कहा कि भारत पूरे तरीके से सक्षम है, कोई भी हरकत, कोई हिमाकत अगर चीन या पाकिस्तान करते हैं तो उसका खामियाजा उन्हें भुगतना पड़ेगा। मणि डिग्रा के साथ अजय सिंधियाल, इंडिया न्यूज़, जम्मू।
All right, Major General A.K. Sivach, who is a defense expert, also joins me on the broadcast on this story. Sir, China is insisting that Shaksgam Valley, that construction in Shaksgam Valley rather is justified as part of the land parcel ceded to it by Pakistan under the 1963 China-Pakistan boundary agreement. Do you believe it's time for India, to exercise its right to take necessary measures to safeguard the interests in the entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir as well as Ladakh?
No doubt, Meda, there is, as far as Shaksgam Valley is concerned, it is a part of India. One must remember is that in 1947-48, Pakistani illegally annexed POJK, Gilgit Pakistan, and Shaksgam Valley is a part of POJK. Now, what has happened is that Pakistan and China then had a bordering agreement in 1963, and where they gifted Shaksgam Valley to China. Now, as far as the whole POJK, Gilgit Pakistan and Shaksgam Valley is concerned, it is a renewable part of India. It was, it will remain. So we are now raising a lot of issues on this. That Shaksgam is illegally occupied by China now because it was illegally taken by Pakistan. So as far as local standard is concerned, it's a part of India, and we will like to take it back. And the issue today is coming. China first made a China-Pakistan economic corridor, which is going through a Gilgit Pakistan. We did not recognize that. Now it is making a lot of infrastructure in Shaksgam Valley. No, Shaksgam Valley is strategically very important to China also, because what happened is it is about 5,400 kilometers. It is very close to its road going to basically Xinjiang to Lhasa, and also a route going to Ketu. But certainly it is not part of China, it is a part of India, which was illegally occupied by Pakistan and then gifted in 1963 to China. And we will now raise this issue everywhere, and even in United Nations we have raised this issue that it should be given back to India. But China every time is trying to convince that this is a part of China, and they have signed an agreement with Pakistan in 1963 where border issue was settled and Shaksgam Valley came towards China. But certainly we have pointed out not only to Pakistan, to China and also international forum that a complete POJK Gilgit Pakistan, including Shaksgam Valley, is alienable part of India, and it will be always a part of India, and we will take it back. Now that's the message which you are sending it loud and clear. China must understand. In addition to that, China has also occupied 38,000 square kilometers of sky chain, which still remains occupied by China, which they have took it in 1962. So that again we have been raising the issue. To counter that, China, what they do is they always raise the issue that Arunachal Pradesh is the southern Tibet. It is more of a pressure tactic so that we can forget about the Saichen and also Sakshangram Valley. But as far as India is concerned, we are very clear. The complete POJK Gilgit Pakistan is a part of India, including Sakshangram Valley, and we will take it back. If not peaceful means, we have other means also. Now, why this Sakshangram has become very, very important is it's very close to Saichen Glacier also, which is very important to India. And also it is connecting the road which is going from Xinjiang to Lhasa, and also the road of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is basically going from Xinjiang and going up till Gwadar. So therefore, the strategic importance of Sakshangram is so important that the China is now making a lot of infrastructure. But we are raising our issues on this. We are saying Sakshangram is illegally occupied by Pakistan and then subsequently given to China. It is a part of India. It must come back to us.
Additionally, sir, this area also forms an integral part of the CPEC route, and India has officially objected to CPEC routes passing through its official territory. When it comes to the strategic importance of this area, how important is Sakshangram Valley for Pakistan as well as China?
Sakshangram Valley, as what we are told, is very, very strategically important because the Western Highway which runs from Xinjiang to Lhasa also goes through the Sakshangram Valley only. One is that. Second thing is the road going to K2 also goes through Sakshangram Valley. And now they are constructing a lot of infrastructure in Sakshangram Valley which directly threaten our Saichen Glacier. So we have been raising this issue which is strategically important to China also, to India also. So any infrastructure which they develop in Sakshangram Valley is first illegal. Second thing, strategically goes against us. And especially when you know it, the Saichen Glacier is being covered. Onto the western side is Gilgit Pakistan, and onto the eastern side is Saichen. The China can sandwich Nubra Valley and Saichen Glacier. In addition to that, Sakshangram Valley plays another important role, which is there, which is also very close to a Saichen Glacier, which is very close to the Karakoram highway, which the Pakistan has, and also the road going from Xinjiang to Lhasa, which is called as a Western Highway. So strategically, it is on a junction point. It has a lot of importance, and that's how China has taken this area from Pakistan, which was illegally occupied by them. And now they are now constructing a number of strategic importance infrastructure. We have raised a lot of doubts on that the Sakshangram Valley is illegally occupied earlier by Pakistan, then gifted to China. It is a part of India and must come back to it. As we have raised the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which again passes through Gilgit Pakistan, which is a part of India.
Sir, additionally, many believe that China is trying to seek to validate its hold on the area with investments. Do you think this can legitimize China's claims over a territory that it has illegally occupied?
Not at all. The point is that it is a part of India and it shall remain part of India throughout. And we have been raising this issue that in case China has now built up a road which is going from the Xinjiang and going to Gwadar, and it has a number of projects called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is a flagship project of their Belt Road Initiative, where China has invested about $62 billion. Notwithstanding that, it is illegally constructed through Gilgit Pakistan, which is a part of India, and we will keep on raising this issue in all international forums, and we will never recognize it, and China knows it. So China knows it very well that this is illegally built by them on an area which is actually part of India, which is illegally occupied by Pakistan in 1947-48. So let him construct any infrastructure, but as on today, it is an area which we consider is a part of India, and we will raise this issue, and we will make all effort to get it back. if not now, in future.
All right, Major General A.K. Sivach, thank you so much for your insights. We really appreciate it. Shifting focus now, China says that it opposed any illicit unilateral sanctions and long-arm jurisdiction after US President Donald Trump posted on social media that nations doing business with Iran will face a 25% tariff on US trade. China's position against the indiscriminate imposition of tariffs is consistent and clear. Tariff wars and trade wars have no winners, and coercion and pressure cannot solve problems, a spokesperson of the Chinese embassy in Washington said on X. China firmly opposes any illicit unilateral sanctions and long-arm jurisdiction and will take all necessary measures to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. Aditya Wadhwan, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Aditya, now after US saying that it will impose 25% tariffs on countries doing trade with Iran, China has come out and released a statement saying that it will oppose any illicit unilateral sanctions.
Well, absolutely, Meda, there is a close China, Russia and Iran axis evolving, and at this juncture, definitely, if you see, Meda, indeed at this juncture, all efforts are being made, to call out the unilateral sanctions imposed by US on Iranian, and for years, US has imposed some crippling sanctions on Iran, which is causing them great troubles, and definitely now China is openly now supporting Iran in its, as far as the sanctions are concerned, and definitely, if you see, already, the situation is very escalating at this juncture, and always it needs to be seen from here on how things unfold going forward as far as the US-Iran face-off is concerned. Medha, back to you.
All right, Aditya, appreciate you sharing all those details with us. Now, the central government has filed a status report in Supreme Court on digital arrest cases. The digital arrest case investigation has been transferred from Delhi Police to CBI. Remember, Supreme Court had taken suo motu cognizance of digital arrest fraud case. Meanwhile, the MHA has formed a high-level committee to deal with digital arrest scams. The panel includes MEITY, DOT, RBI, CBI, NIA, Delhi Police and I4C. The committee to examine legal and technical gaps in digital arrest cases. The center also seeks a 1 month's time to submit final report to Supreme Court. So now digital arrest case probe has been transferred to the CBI from the Delhi Police. Now, what exactly is a digital arrest? It refers to a type of online scam where fraudsters impersonate law enforcement officials such as those from let's say the CBI or the police, as well as enforcement directorate, and falsely accuse victims of involvement in criminal activities to extort money. Sambhav Sharma, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Sambhav, we're learning that the MHA has formed a committee also to take we're learning that as part of the digital arrest case, it has now been transferred to the CBI from the Delhi Police. So, what more details can you share with us?
Well, absolutely. Here, in the digital arrest case, where the Supreme Court has taken the suo motu cognizance of fraud related to the digital arrest, the center has filed a status report in the Supreme Court on this, stating that the probe of the digital arrest case investigation comes from the Delhi Police to the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI, and the Ministry of Home Affairs has formed a level committee.
All right. My colleague Rumi Mishra now joins us to walk us through a little more of what this story exactly is.
Yes, Medha, on my screen I have the Supreme Court of India criminal original jurisdiction and the suo motu writ petition, which is number 3 of 2025 in the matter of victims of digital arrest related to forged documents. I'll walk us through this document in the full. The Supreme Court of India has now stated the particulars of this report. It has the status report on behalf of the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Union of India, pursuant to this Honorable Court's directions dated 1st December 2025 and 16th December 2025. It is submitted that the present status report is being filed on behalf of the Union of India to present compliance with directions issued by this Honorable Court, White Orders dated 1st of December and 16th of December 2025. It is submitted that order dated 16th December 2025 passed by this Honorable Court had directed the Delhi Police to transfer the case registered under FIR number 59 by 2025 to the CBI. Accordingly, the case has been transferred to the CPI by FIR number RC 233-2026E0001 dated 9th of January 2026. A true copy of the FIR number has also been attached here. It is further submitted that this Honorable Supreme Court order dated 16th of December had directed that all the interdepartmental ministerial consultations under the guidance of the learned Attorney General should take an appropriate decision at their end and appraise the Supreme Court. And the court further directed that the recommendations made by the amicus curiae should also be considered by the concerned quarters alongside the directions already issued by the Supreme Court in its order dated 1st of December 2025. I'll also try to walk us through what all the document has. In pursuance to the meeting of the IDC, the DOT and RBI have submitted detailed inputs which required further deliberations by the committee in the next meeting. Further, the input from other members of the committee is yet to be submitted to the committee. In continuation of the above deliberations and in compliance with the directions of the Honorable Supreme Court, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which is the MEITY, further convened a meeting with IT intermediaries on 6th of January 2026. In this meeting, the amicus curiae along with the representatives of 14C MHA, Department of Telecom, Google, WhatsApp, Telegram and Microsoft have participated in the said meeting. Furthermore, we also have the first information report which has been named here, the FIR number here again, I'll read it out for our viewers, RC 233-2026E0001. It was registered under the cybercrime branch EO4 police station dated 9th of January 2026. The acts and the sections given here are the Section 308 of the BNS, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita of 2023, Section 318, Section 319 and Section 340. The suspected offences are digital arrest, and of course the nationality of the people is Indian. The name of the complainants and the informants are Mrs. Malini Mishra, who is the daughter of Sudhakar Mishra. The address is also mentioned here, but I would not, of course, like to reveal that on air. The office memorandum given by by the MHA here also states that the constitution of committee to examine all facets of issues of digital arrest on the order of the Honorable Supreme Court in suo motu writ petition, criminal writ petition, is numbered 320 by 2025. In pursuance of the order, in relation to suo motu writ petition, victims of digital arrest related to forged documents pending before the Honorable Supreme Court and learned Attorney General for India has advised for the constitution of a committee under the aegis of MHA to comprehensively examine all facets of the issue of digital arrest. Accordingly, competent authority had constituted a committee with the composition as mentioned below, which is the MHA, the MEITY, the DOT, the MEA, the DFS, the Law and Justice Ministry, the Consumer Affairs, RBI, CBI, NIA, including Delhi Police, and any other member or expert as required may also be invited by the chairperson. Over to you, Medha.
All right, Rumi, thank you so much for sharing all those details with us. I am being joined by Advocate Vineet Jindal, who's a Supreme Court advocate, on the broadcast on this story. All right, well, it seems like I'm facing some connection issues right there. Now, as part of its digital arrest crackdown, the center has formed a multi-agency panel and the Supreme Court is set to hear the matter today. The center has constituted a high-level inter-departmental committee headed by a special secretary from the Union Ministry of Home Affairs to comprehensively examine all facets of digital arrests across the country. Now, the government in its status report to the Supreme Court said this today, rather in its status report to the Supreme Court, which is scheduled to hear the matter today. Now, expressing serious concerns over cyber fraudster is impersonating as law enforcement officials defrauding citizens of their hard-earned money after convincing them that they have been arrested digitally. The Supreme Court had in November-December last year taken suo motu cognizance of some of the complaints and asked the CBI to probe this matter. Advocate Vineet Jindal, who is a Supreme Court advocate, joins me on the broadcast on this story. Sir, now with the digital arrest scams rising, the digital arrest case investigation has been transferred from the Delhi police to the CBI, and now the government has also formed a multi-agency panel as part of this case. Your first reactions to this, sir?
Yes, this is very grave issue because we have recently seen there are many
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please go ahead. All right, it seems like we're facing some sort of connectivity issues right there. Now, what exactly is a digital arrest? It refers to a type of online scam where fraudsters impersonate law enforcement officials such as CBI, the police or the enforcement directorate via phone calls, video calls, and falsely accuse victims of involvement in criminal activities to extort money. Now, as I was saying, as part of its digital arrest crackdown, the center has formed a multi-agency panel, and the Supreme Court is set to hear this matter today. Now, in its status report, which the government had presented to the Supreme Court, all right, my colleague Rumi Mishra joins us for more on this. Rumi.
Well, Medha, I have the proposed recommendations for 16th of December 2025 on behalf of Ms. Napinal and Senior Advocate or the amicus curiae. In terms of Telecom Department, the Department of Telecommunication was to undertake steps for identifying and blocking of spoofed India numbers from foreign locations, blocking of VoIP calls from non-registered service providers, blocking mule SIMs and re-verify SIM cards identified as non-bona fide users. According to the DOT circular, which was dated 7th of December 2021, it was also recommended to hold TSPs liable for frauds and negligence by their point-of-sale agents, for imposing penalties on TSPs and POS for failing to adhere to its circulars, holding TSPs liable for compensation to victims from such penalties collected, informing consumer of total number of SIMs issued in their names to the primary number, that is the first number issued in their name, to Sanchar Sathi app alone, which would not suffice, that is, expects user to be vigilant instead of protecting them instead of misuse. Physical verification or multi-factor verification processes were also recommended through point of contact for issuance of corporate bulk SIMs, multi-factor authentications for issuance of duplicate SIMs, implementations of its circular dated 31st of August 2023 for TSPs to develop and deploy advanced IT tools to detect unusual or suspected activities of POS or customers. The TSPs, in fact, were recommended to deploy a dashboard to map real-time issuance of SIM per person from any point of sale to ensure not more than 9 SIM cards are issued to each person, and to comply with the maximum one SIM per day restriction from any point of sale. Be accountable for compliance with DOT circulars by point of sale vendors appointed by such TSP. Develop and deploy advanced IT tools to detect unusual suspected activities for POS customers. Block SIMs identified as suspicious activations or used for fraudulent purposes within 24 hours by following procedures set out by DOT, which were to seek permission from customers through first SIM issued before additional SIMs are issued in same name. Inform customers every quarter through SMS to primary SIM the total number of SIMs issued in the name. So the SIM cards issued in the names of a particular person had to be told by the government, by the telecom ministry, and they had to be informed on how many SIM cards have been issued in their name in case any fraudulent SIM cards were issued. The ministry was also to extend assistance and ensure that its POS agents also extend assistance to law enforcement agencies in ongoing investigations into financial frauds. The MEITY was told to issue standard operating procedures or SOPs for grant of blocking orders to CBI or law enforcement agencies of SIMs identified as being used to commit cyber crimes. The RBI, in fact, was told to develop and deploy fraud detection tools to identify suspiciously excessive withdrawals in issuer customer account within a short span of time. And RBI was to provide timelines which should act as red flags for action. And also asked to provide procedures for regulated entities to follow when suspicious activity is identified in an account. Over to you, Medha.
All right, Advocate Jasmine Damkiwala, who is a Supreme Court advocate, joins me for more on this story. Ma'am, as part of its digital arrest crackdown, the centre has formed a multi-agency panel, and the Supreme Court is also set to hear this matter today. Your first reactions to this?
We essentially welcome this order of the Honorable Supreme Court. The Honorable Supreme Court has very proactively taken suo motu cognizance. Once, as we are aware, old lady wrote to Supreme Court, aged lady, saying that she was the victim of a cyber fraud. Cyber fraud is really catching up nowadays, and people are not able to basically deal with it because there's a lot of psychological manipulation in case of cyber arrest. So we welcome this decision of the Honorable Supreme Court, and they've transferred the matter to CBI, which is going to be a very efficient body to deal with this. So anyway, the new BNS is taking care of cyber crimes under Section 111, which was not there under the old IPC. But we see as new crimes and modes of manipulation are coming up. Similarly, solutions are also coming up. So we welcome this.
Additionally, ma'am, in your opinion, why did the Supreme Court feel the need to step in on its own in this very matter?
Essentially, the Supreme Court stepped in this matter because this is a very rampant issue right now. We see many, I think all of us have faced this, what is called phishing emails. All of us have received it at some point of time or the other, where we've received these threatening emails saying you are, we are calling you from this department, that department, you are under arrest, or you have to pay a fine or whatever. So these kind of emails are very common, or almost everybody has received them. Most of us choose to ignore it. But senior citizens, aged people, vulnerable groups, maybe teenagers, all of those, that section of the population has been affected. And especially when it was a new occurrence. Now we all know about it. When it was a new occurrence, it affected a lot of people who panicked. So the first reaction is panic. You receive emails, you receive calls as well. So the reaction is to panic, to quickly give your passcodes, your OTPs. So I think, and it was such a rampant thing that we see that the normal provision of law, the IPC and the civil codes and the criminal codes, sorry, not the civil codes, will take its own time, and these are individual cases which will be dealt with on evidence at its proper time. However, the whole aspect and the whole crime is so rampant right now, and it is affecting everybody. So it is better that it is, the one centralized agency like the CBI investigates into it instead of looking at individual cases which run through, its own course in courts. So that is the need of the hour. So at least some guidelines can be come up with, directions can be come up with, consolidated investigation takes place to control and curb this. So hence the Supreme Court has to step into this. It's a nationwide problem.
Advocate Jasmine Damkewala, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Shifting focus now, breaking news coming in. The External Affairs Ministry has unveiled the new logo of the 18th BRICS Summit that is set to take place in India this year. Aditya Wadhwan, my colleague, joins us for more on this. Aditya, now the government has unveiled the BRICS logo as India is set to hold the presidency this year.
Well, definitely, indeed, the BRICS presidency will be very, very crucial for India this year. And definitely, if you see, Medha, definitely the new logo has been released by the Ministry of External Affairs. And definitely, in the times to come, we could see India's active now leading role in the BRICS, because it is a very important bloc. And considering the current geopolitical situations that have been going on in that regard, it is a very, very crucial at a very crucial juncture. India has got the leadership of BRICS, and along with Russia and China, India is expected to play a major role. And definitely, this new logo will definitely be of very, very key importance. Medha, back to you.
All right, Aditya, appreciate you sharing all those details with us. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is addressing. Let's cut across.
And academic interactions. And they will all help us to build mutual understanding and further deepen our collaboration. These exchanges contribute to creating a stronger sense of community within BRICS and lay the foundation for long-term cooperation. India views BRICS as a constructive platform for dialogue and development, complement
Kirtivardhan Singh ji, Pavitra Margarita ji, secretaries of MEA, representatives from BRICS countries, excellencies, senior officials of Government of India ministries, representatives of think tanks and business chambers, colleagues, friends. I'm extremely pleased to welcome you all this morning to the formal unveiling of the logo, theme and website for India's chairship of BRICS for 2026. As we have gathered today on the eve of Makar Sankranti, a festival known by the many names of also my warmest greetings to each one of you on this auspicious occasion. Just as these festivals convey hope and goodwill, India's BRICS chairship will seek to bring together the potential of BRICS countries for greater global welfare. Friends, when India prepares to assume the BRICS chairship in 2026, we do so at an important moment in the grouping's journey. In 2026, BRICS will complete 20 years since its inception, during which it has steadily evolved
into a significant platform for cooperation among emerging markets and developing economies. Over the years, BRICS has expanded its agenda and membership, responding to changing global realities while remaining focused on people-centric development, fostering dialogue, and promoting practical cooperation. The current global environment presents complex and interlinked challenges, geopolitical uncertainties, complicated economic landscapes, climate-related risks, technological changes, and persistent development gaps continue to affect countries across regions. In this context, BRICS remains an important forum that encourages dialogue and cooperation and practical responses, taking into account national priorities at different stages of development. India approaches its chairship with a humanity-first and a people-centric approach, inspired by the guidance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Our chairship theme, Building for Resilience, Innovation, Cooperation, and Sustainability, reflects our belief that cooperation among BRICS members can help address shared challenges in a balanced and in an inclusive manner. The theme underscores the importance of strengthening capacities, promoting innovation, and ensuring sustainable development for the benefit of all. The logo that we unveiled today reflects this approach. It combines elements of tradition and modernity, and the petals incorporate the colors of all BRICS member countries, representing unity in diversity and a strong sense of shared purpose. The logo conveys the idea that BRICS draws strength from the collective contributions of its members while respecting their distinct identities. The BRICS India website, which has also been launched this morning, will serve as a common platform during India's chairship. It will provide information on meetings, initiatives, and outcomes, and will facilitate greater transparency and engagement. It will also help timely dissemination of information throughout the year. Friends, the four broad priorities of India's chairship: resilience, innovation, cooperation, and sustainability. They will provide a coherent and balanced framework across the three foundational pillars of BRICS: political and security, economic and financial, and cultural and people-to-people exchanges. Under the resilience pillar, we will endeavor to build structural institutional strengths capable of weathering global shocks. India intends to work with BRICS partners to build resilience in agriculture, in health, in disaster risk reduction, energy and supply chains, including through cooperative frameworks that enhance collective preparedness and response. Innovation remains a central driver of global economic development. The deployment of new and emerging technologies is essential to addressing socio-economic challenges, particularly those confronting developing countries, while maintaining a people-centric approach. Enhanced cooperation in areas such as startups, MSMEs, and new and emerging technologies can contribute meaningfully to building a more equitable world. Excellencies, colleagues, India attaches equal importance to cooperation and sustainability and will work to advancing climate action, promoting clean energy, and supporting sustainable development pathways in a manner that is fair and sensitive to national circumstances. At a time when the world is also navigating multiple complex challenges, the call for a reinvigorated, inclusive, and effective multilateral order has never been more urgent. BRICS must commit to a reformed multilateralism that reflects contemporary realities, one where institutions like the United Nations, the WTO, IMF, and the World Bank are representative and inclusive. Founded by BRICS countries, the new development bank has emerged as an important instrument of economic cooperation, promoting infrastructure and sustainable development of its member countries. India remains committed to supporting activities and efforts to further strengthen the bank as a credible, responsible, and financially sustainable institution. People-to-people exchanges will always remain an essential component of BRICS and especially of our chairship, with continued emphasis on youth, culture, education, sports, tourism, and academic interactions. And they will all help us to build mutual understanding and further deepen our collaboration. These exchanges contribute to creating a stronger sense of community within BRICS and lay the foundation for long-term cooperation. India views BRICS as a constructive platform for dialogue and development, complementing the broader multilateral system, guided by the principles of mutual respect, sovereign equality, and consensus. India will seek to make its chairship inclusive, practical, people-centered, and outcome-oriented.
Well, with that, I wrap up this bulletin. Thank you for watching.
माघ मेले की भव्यता और पवित्रता का एक बार फिर विश्व देखेगा नया स्वरूप। करोड़ों श्रद्धालुओं के लिए परंपराएं वही और सुविधाएं नई, जहां पग पग पर आस्था और दिव्यता की मिलेगी अनुभूति। जब संगम की रेती पर संत महात्माओं की होगी उपस्थिति, 6 पावन पर्व स्नानों में अखाड़ों के संतों का समागम, पूरे विश्व में माघ मेले की महानता का होगा वर्णन। यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के मार्गदर्शन और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के नेतृत्व में माघ मेला 2026 आस्था की लहराती पताका, विकास की नई गाथा, काम दमदार, डबल इंजन सरकार।
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज Newsx का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से ITV नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
India-US trade talks to resume. Trump's envoy pick takes charge. From Modi didn't call tirade. US corrects tone with India. Now that US is returning to the table.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Explained by Newsx. Before this episode begins, let's listen into some of the latest statements made by 2 officials from the United States of America government.
Tracks and set the whole deal up. But let's be clear, it's his deal.
Yeah.
Okay? He's the closer. He does the deal. So I said, you got to have Modi. It's all set up. You have to have Modi call the president. And they were uncomfortable doing it. So Modi didn't call.
I've traveled all over the world with President Trump, and I can attest that his friendship with Prime Minister Modi is real. The United States and India are bound not just by shared interest, but by a relationship anchored at the highest levels. Real friends can disagree, but always resolve their differences in the end. Last week, our great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, powerfully stated that this year will be a year of reciprocity. We are raising the standard for diplomacy itself. That means fair trade, mutual respect, and shared security. Many of you.
Well, one cannot distinguish that these two statements were just made 3 days apart. They represent the same country and are essentially speaking about the same country as well. One is blaming Prime Minister Modi for stopping the India-US trade deal, while another is calling India a priority. It seems that this is the United States of America for you under the Trump administration. Sergio Gore is America's newly appointed ambassador to New Delhi. According to him, India and the US continue to be actively engaged in trade talks, and the next meeting between the negotiators of the two countries is scheduled for Tuesday, 13th January. Gore also announced that India will be invited to join Pax Silica as a full member next month. He explained that Pax Silica is a new initiative the US has launched just last month to build a secure, prosperous and innovation-driven silicon supply chain from critical minerals and energy inputs to advanced manufacturing, semiconductors, AI development and logistics. Listen in to what he said about India during the address to the staffers and journalists as he took charge of the US Embassy in our nation.
Lifetime opportunity to redefine diplomacy, what it can accomplish. What it can accomplish could be the most consequential global partnership of this century. No partner is more essential than India. In the months and years ahead, it is my goal as ambassador to pursue a very ambitious agenda. We will do this as true strategic partners, each bringing strength, respect, and leadership to the table. Thank you, and may God bless the enduring friendship.
Well, India and the United States have been engaged in intensive trade negotiations in the past year. The process began with Prime Minister Modi's visit to Washington on 13th Feb 2025. A joint statement with US President Donald Trump followed, outlining the intent to pursue new equitable trade terms under Trump's renewed focus on bilateral deals. Following this, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal visited the US from the 4th till the 6th of March to build on the political momentum and engage in policy-level talks. A US trade delegation then traveled to India from the 26th of March until the 29th to hold technical discussions on issues ranging from digital trade to pharmaceuticals and agricultural access. Between March and July, 5 in-person negotiation rounds were held, supported by sector-specific virtual dialogues. During this period, Piyush Goyal visited the US 2 more times and met with US Trade Representative Howard Lutnick to push for an early agreement. In the middle of these negotiations, on the 2nd of April, Trump's administration announced reciprocal tariffs on countries without bilateral deals. For India, the tariff was initially set at 26%. A 90-day pause in implementation was declared on the 9th of April. And on the 11th of April, Piyush Goyal made a statement that India will never negotiate at gunpoint. A lot was at stake, with tariffs becoming a reality soon. On 23rd April, Piyush Goyal and his team visited Washington for negotiations again. The move was reciprocated, with US officials reaching India to discuss bilateral trade agreements on the 5th of June. Every talk was declared a failure on the 27th of August as US raised tariffs on many Indian exports to around 50%. The first breakthrough in the negotiations came when Piyush Goyal said the first tranche of the trade deal was expected by November 2025. As of December 2025, the Commerce Secretary clarified that the first framework segment of the trade deal, if ready but no signing, was done yet. Let's hear what Piyush Goyal said on the 10th of December about the trade deal.
यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका की टीम मंगलवार से भारत में है और